This conference will now be recorded.
All right, we'll call the meeting to order. Get going. Everybody stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Lord, as we gather this day to do the important business for the people of the village of Owego, grant us wisdom, compassion, and understanding. Amen.
Amen. All right, first thing as usual, public comment. We got anything? Okay. All right, we're gonna get Paul out of here quick. So we're gonna do the EMS members first. Any sort of EMS report?
Okay, I did have a handout for everybody, but I guess you're gonna see it on email because I forgot it at the station. Above and beyond calls, we had 10 ALS members attend an ACLS training in-house. One of our new folks got signed off as a driver for the ambulances and is currently riding on a shift. 31 is in service, about 25,000 miles on it, no issues. 32 is out at Simmons. It had a wrench light on, diagnosed as the electronic accelerator pedal, and we're hoping that gets installed tomorrow and back to us tomorrow, if not Thursday sometime. And if that comes back, the parts are finally in for 33 for the rear end that we've been waiting for 6 months. And that will be leaving on Monday morning for a couple, 3 days, and hopefully a quick turnaround on that. 51 is in service, and that's really all I have other than the 2 new members. If you want to do those now or wait.
Yeah, we'll do it now.
Okay, we have, someone who wants to be a driver, daytime only, he's a retiree. Kenneth Easton.
That's our ex-fire chief in the
We
village.
all know Ken.
Oh, great. Well, he wants to be a daytime driver,
Awesome.
EMS.
So we're making that motion to
Yes, I make
accept.
the motion to
Second.
accept him as a driver.
Second.
Any discussion on him or thanking him? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
Okay, and we have another new person, Mario Cardona. He's a student right now, and he's interested in working as
He's actually in the EMT class. I forgot to tell you that.
okay, he's in the EMT class,
Yes.
okay. But I propose that we accept him for the EMS.
Second.
Okay, any other discussion on him? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles? Yes. And yes. Tell him thank you for helping out.
Just send your report in to the office.
Yes, actually it's emailed to him.
Okay.
I just didn't,
That's all I need.
for whatever reason, didn't hit the print button.
Okay.
And you have the copies of 2 applications for Cindy, correct? Rob? You own the copies of the application on, okay, all right.
Good, we're good. Thanks.
Anybody, anything else for EMS? All right, Paul, you're good.
All right, well, thank you for kicking me out.
I mean, you can stay if you want.
I'm good, I'm good. I'll wait for Friday.
Yeah, Fred, do you have anything not on the agenda? Nope. Trying to scan through what's on. So we have, you're on anything not on the agenda? Yeah. Does anybody have anything for DPW? Seriously? Get out of here. Oh, yeah, maybe, stay for the executive session.
Oh, that was, you're so close.
Dang it.
You're so slow.
I can't.
See you, buddy.
Good night.
I see we had a new person join us. Do you have any public comment? We already skipped it.
I'll skip for the moment. Go
Okay,
ahead.
okay.
Thank you.
All right, next, let's do the executive session. So this is an executive session. Maybe not the right term for
It's
it.
an attorney-client session.
Yeah, it's gonna be with, but I wanna invite Andrea and John from the Little League board. Pertaining to that issue.
Right. Well then, because non-clients are there, it's not an attorney-client session.
Okay, so it's regarding the village, I believe.
Well, I mean, that's certainly accurate. Also, I guess you could argue that potentially pending litigation is depending on how the outcome goes.
Mr. Mayor, move to have an executive session for the other reason, not the attorney-client privilege. Whatever.
Matters relating to the employment, promotion, et cetera, of a
Will we have that?
firm or corporation in the village.
That's the term. All second it. So we'll, Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
Executive session, just real quick.
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. Okay. We're gonna do this now for like 5 minutes, literally.
I was looking at these.
Sorry, fans, we need to do this.
bring for a
Okay.
case number?
We are back. Yeah. I think it's, oh, we lost our lawyer. Where'd he go?
You got a better offer.
Oh, okay. Oh, here, take one of these, pass it down. Okay, so we will investigate that issue somewhere and I don't know what happens. Okay,
Mr. Mayor?
Yep.
Could I recommend, since those are the only two here, that the rest of the department head reports go later?
yes.
Thank
yes,
you.
for sure. Let's move on to the parade permits.
Okay, what one do we want to do first?
I guess you can tell us.
Go down the
about-
line? Okay,
Yeah.
so first one I'm trying to get going, none of these parades, you guys need to get a new form for just party permit or something.
We've been talking about a mass gathering.
Yeah, something. So I want to I've been working with the girls that own Foundation Collective and talking to them about getting more business there on Main Street. So we were talking about one Saturday a month to start this summer, trying to get a band in the gazebo and kind of move the farmer's market to that park behind the courthouse, like 12 to 5, once a month. To hopefully bring people in to stay and shop. And I think the farmer's market actually didn't renew their lease with the Walgreens guy, so I think it'd be the perfect time to do something like that.
Well, for this year.
Yeah. Like you're talking about Walgreens or the farmer's market?
You're saying, use the gazebo for the farmer's market.
Well, like have a band there, but use that whole park for a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, we need to vote on it on a yearly basis.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think if it was, fun and we could get people, we were hoping to do maybe every Saturday.
What are they gonna do the weekday?
I don't think they're doing anything this summer. So, and I know a lot of people have been like, oh, since they closed so early and it's like Thursday mornings, that this might be better anyway. We'll get people on Saturdays to come out.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Saturday's a better day for a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Unless there's something else scheduled in that area.
Right, yeah, I don't know, I mean, like Strawberry Fest uses that. There might be some Saturdays that don't work.
Yeah, I didn't pick any that I thought there was already something going on.
So,
So right now you're proposing just 1, 2, 3, 4 days of
4, yeah.
draft.
so your information for us at the moment is that you'd like to have music and farmer's market 4 different Saturdays, one in June, one in July, one in August, one in September. That's your information.
Yes.
All right, so I think we need, of course, to, as usual, send this to, I appreciate that. We just got it 5 minutes ago. We need to send it to our committee to find out information and get where we're gonna go on it. That make sense?
And this is
I
Leonardo.
mean,
Yeah, just like,
yeah, you weren't
I'm working with
expecting an
other-
answer, and we're not,
Yeah, just like working with other people, but
No, Leonardo's,
yeah, that's who
that's, okay.
I.
No, I was just asking because it says, Leonardo's Wine Bar hosting the food and
Yeah,
everything.
I don't know who
There's
else to
no-
really put.
There's no alcohol involved.
No.
Right, true, that's a different form.
No, yeah. No,
We do have a form for it.
I have lots of forms for that. So.
what do you got on the other 4?
The others, what?
The other,
The other parties?
Yeah.
Okay, so the other one is Food Truck Festival, kind of based off of Trucks on the Tracks. Because I usually go to that in Binghamton. It's super profitable. It's so much fun. I want to charge the food trucks to come, and if any local restaurant was, and it's that like dead end. So just probably closing that off so we could have more tents there, and then we're gonna put the food trucks in a kind of private parking lot. And I already spoke with code about any permits I need for the food trucks, and
So
Yeah.
what street is that?
it's
Depot.
South Depot. It goes like right to the
Fran, that's the train station restaurant behind the
Yeah,
car
well, I
wash.
mean, I think it
Rainbow.
doesn't say that here. Oh, yes,
Oh, yeah.
yes.
Says Southie.
It says it on the parade permit.
I didn't go to the next line.
Yeah. So that is another thing. And that one I'm only doing like 5 to 8. Hopefully people stay downtown. I have some big trucks that have already reached out that, I mean, me and my friend have driven hours to go to for no reason. So I think it would bring a lot of people in that haven't been to Owego.
So that one also will be once in June, once in July, once in August, once in September, each on a Thursday.
Thursday nights.
And it's asked for 5 to 8.
Yeah.
And it's asked to close South Depot Street
Yes.
at that time.
Yeah,
Okay.
close off the whole street to traffic.
Just the end. Yeah, because the end is,
Okay.
it's a dead end.
Right, but I mean,
Yeah.
other than the food trucks themselves, no one else can pull in.
Would you want a alcohol permit for that one?
So I was going to attempt one on that, like an off-site one. I still have my fencing from when I did mine for the 5K Strawberry Fest. And then I already talked to the police about that, if we would need anyone. They were like, if you're not over a certain amount of people, you wouldn't need to hire someone. You would just need like a little bouncer or like a security person, which they said they'd get back to me on because they don't even know what that is anymore.
And we did do a law about alcohol at festivals or something.
Well, we make it like fenced off, because I know that's like
We have the ability to do that
a thing.
by permit from us.
So it's another permit on top of the
I have
parade,
to do my permits too, so it's a lot.
but it's possible. I should say.
Okay, cool.
Well, can I go back for a minute? Just
Yes.
one quick more follow-up on the potential music farmers. There wasn't a time frame on the
Oh, I was thinking like 12 to 5, like shopping hours.
12 to 5. Okay.
How many people do you expect at the farmer's market music to show up?
I don't know, like thinking the first one, I'm like, I mean, a Saturday in Owego, that's hit or miss, especially,
I don't know how many people show up to the farmer's market they have now, you know what I mean?
that's what I'm saying. So I'm working on getting some other, like not just that farmer's market, but other people that are around talking to everyone else, but. man,
Depends if
I
Wendy
would-
Post does the music, then
So
Yes,
are you just
get some
using
free
it might be
the
1,000 or
one where the
2,000.
top is?
Yeah, just that,
That one?
yeah.
Well, I mean, one thought I had is, have some signs posted that people park over in the county lot
Yeah, oh, the one on like, wherever that street
between
is.
the
Yeah, it's on
CVS.
Yeah,
Gander Street.
Yeah.
How many people do you expect to come to the food truck festival?
I feel like the first one wouldn't be over like 200, 300 people. I can't imagine, because people still need to drive to Owego, so. But that's usually, especially on a Thursday night.
So are you planning on any kind of entertainment on Thursday night?
I was maybe thinking about having like some kind of band come or a guitar player or something, because I've connected with people at the Binghamton one, and I know they'd be interested, like Kevin Ludwig or something, so. But nothing like super big, probably acoustic. Nothing
That'll draw
crazy.
some people.
Yeah,
You're not, Charles and his guitar?
we could switch the dates.
Yeah. YouTube famous. All right.
Well, have you talked with the people at the depot there as far as,
Yeah, he's working on it with me.
okay.
Okay.
Nick Regal, yeah,
Well, that makes sense, because it's in front of his place.
exactly.
Yes, he's got to get his customers in.
Yeah, oh, that's what, he was like, how am I gonna make money from this? I was like, I'll tell you.
They have to have it in his-
I was like, you have every inside thing happening and
Yeah.
golf and all that. So we're trying to get some like outdoor golfing stuff going on, like putt things
That
and,
would be cool.
yeah. Cause he's new, so he obviously wants people.
And what's the last one? It's a Porch Fest?
Yeah, I mean, I went to put in my other parade permits and the police were like, well, just fill this out anyway. I don't plan on closing any streets, so.
I don't understand. You
Where
went
is
to
it
get your
going
other
to be
stuff and the
at?
police recommended you have a Porch Fest?
No. I'm doing a porch fest. They just said we'd like to know about if there's people coming, so I'm working with them on like the emergency gathering, blah, blah, blah stuff, but they were like, well, just put a permit in anyway. And I was like, okay. I'm not closing any streets, but they were like, well, we just like to know. And I was like, all right.
It's not associated with the Porch Fest we're having.
No, so what streets are you going to be having for Porch Fest now?
Whichever houses reach out to me that are walkable next to each other. Because I did the one in 2022, so I picked everything that was kind of near Elks to keep everyone kind of there, so.
Yeah, I mean, because my only concern is people across the street,
Yeah,
you know.
I get that.
Traffic going through, people wandering back and forth, it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I usually pick someone, if houses reach out to me and they don't really have a lawn, I usually don't pick them because Porch Fest notoriously is, you know, pick up your chair, sit down, chill in the lawn, move on to the next one. But, yeah, if I get to like, I think I would maybe close a street if it was front to main, if I had a bunch of houses on that street, but right now it's like pretty big lawns. I'm content so far. And I don't really have them play on the sidewalk. I like them set back, so.
Yeah, that would be my comment, like, that first Porch Fest we had, there was one instance where there was a house like right on the sidewalk
Yes.
and they had a popular band.
Yes,
Someplace in the middle of the street, and the street wasn't closed, that was kind of an issue.
yeah,
But if the house is back and they have a decent yard.
Yeah.
Kind of works.
And this is planned for a Saturday also, that also coincides with the other Saturday?
correct, because I think a band would be good with the farmer's market at the park.
Might help get people there.
How many
Thank
people do you expect to come to Porch Fest?
Probably the same thing as food truck land. Like, I can't imagine more than 300 people
How many?
on that, more than 300 or anything.
We had a fair amount at the Porch Fest this last summer, or this last fall.
Yeah, they're all spread out.
That was a different animal though.
Yeah.
Isn't this supposed to be spread out?
This is.
This is not the Merchants Association.
No.
The other one's more of a festival, I guess. This is, I think, more just bands, right?
More just bands, yeah.
And you have insurance to cover the village when you close any streets?
Yes, working with the chamber, because my first year I actually did both, so,
What chamber?
Iowa Chamber.
What insurance company?
And they have their event insurance, because I used them for Halloween too, when I first did that.
So you won't have the insurance, somebody else will?
Yeah, and I'm not closing any streets for that one yet. But for the other ones,
The ones you are, you'll.
yeah, probably chamber.
Yeah.
To use the courthouse square property,
Yeah.
that's our village property that you would have to insure
Yep.
us against for the events.
So it's not just closing streets, there's.
Yeah, I'm
insurance
working
for-
with Sabrina on that, so.
Iowa Chamber of Commerce. Does anybody have
All
any
right.
questions about the events?
So Mike, I recommend that we refer this to,
Porch Fest is
refer this,
fabulous as far as where it's gonna be and what streets may or may not close.
I recommend that we refer this to committee and we'll
Yeah.
discuss it. We'll work.
Yeah, so typically we get the stuff and then like next
Yeah.
meeting we'll.
Well, they were like, I don't even know if it's gonna be on this one yet, and I was like, okay.
So never come tell us about it.
Yeah, well, I was like, better than, yeah, finding out.
And the same thing that, at least I've said that we say to the Strawberry Festival and others, thank you for bringing it to us
Yeah.
considerably ahead of time so that we have an
Yeah.
opportunity to find,
Mull it
to
over.
think about it, find out pluses and minuses, find out details, so that you have plenty of time and we have. plenty of time.
Yeah.
I definitely work with Jeff Winchell from.
Yep, already, they were like, he's out of town. I was like, okay.
Yeah, you should probably come back again at the next board meeting, discuss it. I mean,
Where will,
I think.
Who knows if we'll be ready then, but.
You have your people call my
yeah,
people.
within a month.
Yeah, you go. My people see where we're at.
Cool,
Yeah.
awesome,
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
All right, so look at the crowd next, we're gonna do like.
All right.
All right, so this says discussion on parking issues. Don't know anything more than that.
Us either.
So, but you recently paved some lines or, to show people where the spaces are.
Yeah.
And you spoke to OPD to ask about accidents if none have been reported since you?
No, I chatted with Officer Starzak, the chief, and I forget the other gentleman's name, younger gentleman. As well as, since we coned off everything by the decking, and then I got that one day where it's 44, I put the white striping there by it, showing there's nothing that I've heard.
So far, everything's working,
I
that
guess.
people are
Yeah.
using the proper spaces now that they can see them.
As far as I know, yeah, I haven't heard anything further. So that's when this popped on. I had no idea it was even on. So it came to my attention late yesterday that we were even on the board agenda. So
Not sure why it's on here, but the Traffic Park and Safety Committee has been over there numbers of times, and we will be going over it some more this week, so probably talking to you some more, so.
yeah, it's
So
fine.
I'm not sure what our impetus was, other than just to catch up or whatever. So the lines are in, the one line is in where it delineates the street. Obviously, you haven't got parking spots built in yet on your thing, which means we don't have the handicap spots yet over there. Of course, the people will follow the rules or the laws depending on what they feel like doing. On the east side of McMaster, coming down from Talcott, where your deck is closer to the street and then gets farther away. The line is there, which we know delineates the street. This weekend, people were parking there anyways, on that side of the street. That was one of our concerns, was parking on the west side, that we have the parking with the curb, and people parking in front of your deck on the other side, and they're parking there.
I'm not sure I follow where you're talking. Where we have it
Or your
all
deck.
lined, where we have it all lined off by
Yeah.
the deck, nobody's parking.
Oh, I was there 3 times this weekend, there were cars parked there.
There's nobody there. I'm out there every half hour
Okay.
checking.
Okay,
So I can assure you that's one of our main,
I can assure you
focuses.
that I went by and there were cars parked there.
okay.
Is there anything else other than that line?
Yeah, we've got the cross hatching all the way through, as well as signage, do
Oh,
not
okay.
park here, you'll be towed.
I've been there.
And then
lately.
we're
I was right in front of
routinely
the
going
deck,
out
maybe
there.
on the deck,
The-
no parking.
Yeah, we have no
Okay.
parking as well.
The
Or small car for the 2 spots that
Right.
allow as per
Pickup
Chapel.
trucks.
It says that there in those short spots, but the rest of the deck doesn't say no parking on the deck.
Well, isn't that the cross hatching? I mean, a
I'm just
normal
tell-
human would know that.
Well,
You don't park there.
apparently the folks, apparently when I went by, the folks didn't know it, or just choose to ignore it, which once again, that's, you're not there.
But other than that, I've had no headaches or hassles. I worked with Paul Capiteo down by his Agway building.
Okay.
And we've got things there blocked off. I think there's no issues on that end. And at the end of the day, it's been busy beyond our wildest imaginations, which, as all of you know, brings in tax dollars, revenue, payroll tax. We've got 25 people we have hired, as well as I'm sure I'll get a letter from Mr. Pedro soon about where assessments are going. You're welcome.
Thank you.
I'd much rather this problem than the opposite.
Right. Right, so.
Yeah, I've driven by through there, Ike, and it looks like the initial wave of new customers is kind of settling down now.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch what you were saying.
I
What's
said
that?
I'd gone through there and it looks like when you first opened up,
Yeah.
it was a fiasco.
Oh, they had the big SUVs parked perpendicular.
Yeah, it
and
looks
yeah,
like,
seems
it looks
to
like
have
it's calmed
streamed out.
down now. The big wave of all the new customers coming to try it out has simmered down now.
I don't know about
No,
that.
we're
We're busier now
every
than,
single week.
yeah, the last 3 weekends, we've done over 5,000.
Saturday and Sunday, yeah, I'll drive by there, you guys are.
I wasn't even in
Got
town
good-
this week, so it
good.
wasn't me.
The week before you were, that was only 3
I
days.
know.
But no, it's been popular beyond what we ever expected. And we also have reached out to the school district about the empty lot that they have from the old admin building. So they're supposed to chat a little about that, who knows? And that's less than half a block from where we are, so.
Yeah, there are a couple of lots over there that you might be able to.
Yeah, and well, their whole, what's nice about that is half of that's paved, so it'll be easy.
Well,
So
the parts that's paved, people there in the neighborhood park, don't they?
We have a few.
I think so, yeah.
Well, we'd like to congratulate you on your success
Yeah.
in this venture. I mean, having parking problems is a sign
Good problem.
of business is booming.
Well, I think you were in there, Mike, when you're in there,
Oh, yeah.
probably less than 10% are locals. They're Elmira, they're Horseheads, they're Oneana, they're Norway.
And I like the fact that you hire a lot of students from OFA.
Downside with some of that is that they can only be so much forward facing because of the alcohol
Yeah,
being served, but
exactly.
they've worked out extremely well for us. So if they're there at 6 a.m., 5 a.m. helping us with them, so.
Helping us.
Yeah.
Keep coming up with those ideas for donuts, those Shrek donuts.
I know.
That was a curse, because now we have Newark Valley asking us about Matilda. I forget what the other one. UE cheerleaders just won a national competition, so they want Tiger donuts, stuff like that.
Riverhawk donuts.
So,
What does a river
I don't know. I hope they're not made for real.
So people that are coming, passing through, they're parking there on North Avenue?
No, if you want to come anytime you want, you can park
Yeah.
on North Avenue.
That's what surprises me. I thought that would be part-
That's like, yeah, it doesn't seem
Really
like
not
there's ever cars
No,
like
not
that. It's
really.
weird.
Besides
That
big
whole
cars.
side next to you.
All the way to Weavers.
Yeah.
Yeah, but nobody's parking there.
That's a perfect place to park, I mean.
Well, I work for Guthrie and I've heard nothing great, or I mean, I've heard everything great about your place, so.
Okay.
So.
Well, you just need to come down and buy donuts for the rest of the
I'll
people
have
in
to
the
stop
office.
down there when I get a minute, so.
They are pretty good. Addicting, not good for my diet.
Any other questions? I mean, we continue to address them. We've done, I think, when I met with Fred, we've got everything in order from his end. Paul, who is trying to rent out his space, I've asked him several times to purchase that. He's not ready to sell that at this time. So, but we.
He is willing to rent it.
I don't want to live in it based on what he's charging.
For rent.
Yep.
He's spoken with me a number of times.
Yeah, it ain't cheap.
Yeah, right.
So. Any other questions?
Have you been asked about any Wu-Tang Clan?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. By my own kids. I said I'm old, but I'm not that old.
Like, what's your plans for the handicap parking?
Well, that's, we're chatting on a few different levels there. We've got the ability to make either of the two up front there of it, but then also with the state DOT, because the access for handicaps in the front, it may make more sense to put it right there in the front.
On North Avenue.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd probably make the most sense.
So, I mean, you can, it's not too big a deal to come up and around the corner there where the sidewalk is, but it'd be way more convenient right there in the front half on North Ave. Of course, then that'd require somebody to park there.
Maybe they will if it's handicap.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, if it's marked.
Well, yeah,
Somebody-
then the
somebody park it.
non-handicap is parked in the handicap spot, yes. Yeah. So.
Vape rod.
But yeah, any other concerns though, and things like that, I expressed to Rusty and Laura, that when they came out, Dave, guys over here, all those guys have my phone number from code, call me. I'm more than happy to be a part of the conversation. So it just has a little put off that nobody even reached out to let us know, so.
Yeah, we were just hoping you'd bring some samples in tonight.
It's Tuesday, closed Tuesday.
That's why it was put on the agenda. Normally it's Monday, they're closed Monday.
That's right. That's right. So, but, anytime you have questions or comments, from talking to the chief of police really since that first weekend, he's heard nothing and he said it was really minimal at that point. Just more of a, get the people out from the one side.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right.
Always good to see you.
Yep, thank you.
Congratulations.
All right, now let's do the Owego Little League slide discussion. Jeff's here.
So the Hyde Park is a village park, but it's also the Owego Little League fields. And in the Hyde Park over towards the elementary school, there's a playground. That's a village playground. It's got swings and a slide. The slide is a stainless steel slide that somebody, a long time ago decided they needed to paint it. And it's now, we're now getting complaints, the Little League board is now getting complaints that kids that are sliding on it as they hold on to the sides and run down are getting paint slivers in their fingers and everything. And some of them are also complaining about their kids are pulling the paint chips off and munching on them. So then we've had questions on whether it's lead paint, whether it's not lead paint, whether do we have anything to show that it's lead, not lead paint. So what the Little League Executive Board has come down to, and I talked to Mike with, we would like to replace that slide. Of course, it is a village park. So the thought that we had was that we would help with the cost of the village of that slide. And we would split the cost, 70 for the village and 30% for the Little League. And we would also take responsibility of all the costs to install the slide properly. I've been in contact with Hunt Engineering, which you guys are using for your Marvin Park stuff. And we've gone through state vendors for the slides. There's several options. The cheapest one is just a tunnel slide that curves down. Unfortunately, I mean, it being plastic and everything else, it's like $10,000. So that would obviously would be 7 for the village and 3 for Little League. And then all of the cost to install it is about an extra $8,000. And that's because it requires the ground to be dug down, concrete to be put in so that the legs can be anchored into the concrete. Then you have all the fall zones, so you have to have wood chips or some kind of wood rubber mats and stuff like that put in there. And then that has to be all ADA, so you have to have it equal with even with the ground. So it's about another $8,000 to install the slide, which we would take care of as far as the Little League. And then at the end of that, if the board so requires, we would also have it safety certified, so that it can be certified by some playground safety inspector that's licensed to kind of say that it was installed the way it was supposed to be, so that if there's any liability issues, the village would be good with that. So that's the proposal that I'm making tonight. Like I said, it would be about $8,000 to install it, which we would take care of. $3,000 towards the slide, and the village would pay $7,000.
Rusty?
Charles first and then me.
Was there any thought about stripping the paint off the existing slide?
Yep. So we actually looked into that. We were gonna try and buffer off this paint and everything. It's extremely labor intensive because of the paint that was used and the way it's been peeling and everything. I mean, it's another option if the village wanted to put somebody over there for a couple weeks to try and take it off or whatever, but
That'd be a cheaper way to go, right? And still have the existing slide.
I mean, that's why, but yes, we thought of that, but it is very labor intensive, so.
No particular estimate about that, just a general feel that it's.
No, we just, as far as Little League, for the Little League, it's just too much labor intensive that we just didn't go down that route.
I think it would cost less.
One more quick question. So on the $8,000 install, did that include all the materials and everything of the install? You said that certain things would have to be.
Yep, that includes
That's
all
everything. Put it in all the material.
concrete, the wood chips, the 4x4s, all that.
Yeah, maybe we should look at that. what the cost would be to fix the current slide. Either
Well, I mean,
strip it
again,
or
if you,
Part of our due diligence.
Right.
somebody,
have a number to
somebody from
compare.
DPW went over and, was told to stay here and work on this, that's, again,
Right.
I can't tell anybody from DPW to do that, so I guess that was where I'm with you guys.
Right.
Either you guys would, decide to go down that route and tell somebody to go do it and just stay there till it's done, or this is the other option I'm presenting.
I think we should
Well,
look
don't
at
the kids also go over to the, school playground?
Yes.
I do.
And last year, we put all new seats on the swings,
We did.
so
And that
slide,
playground,
it's just slide and swings that are over there.
that playground gets used a lot. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a couple hundred kids there every, no,
Yeah, I'm gonna say especially. on
The
weekends,
school one, not
Saturdays.
this one.
no, this one.
This one.
This one, right, this one's used quite a bit.
You guys are running games every night.
Yeah.
Tons of teams. I know, cause I'm cooking hundreds of hamburgers.
Appreciate that.
Rusty?
So did we by any chance save the greatest slide there ever was at Marvin Park that was 2 slides and 100 million feet tall? Where we want to put that?
I wish.
No, that was,
I'll bet the
that was
slides-
way too dangerous, the greatest slide.
There used to be a little playground on the corner there, next to the water department. I'll bet that slide got moved over there.
I just know this is a stainless steel slide. I'm gonna say it's between 8 and 10 feet tall.
Yeah.
It's a single slide, not double.
Is there anything else wrong with it besides the paint? Like, it's not wobbly or?
Just the paint, and that's the only issue that's been brought to our attention.
Curious about the steps now, though.
I think.
I'm sure we're gonna-
What's that?
I'm curious about the steps, though.
Right.
I think maybe we should look at that.
We would certainly be willing to look with you guys or whatever at the steps, or see if there's any structural issues, supports or something that are in the ground.
Right.
But nothing that's been brought to our attention other than paint.
Dave?
Have you looked into anything else, say, eliminate the slide completely and use the 8,000 plus the 3,000 to purchase something totally different than a slide?
Well, that wasn't our choice. That's not our call because it's a village playground, so that's the other option. If you guys decide that you don't want that slide there, you just want to say, go ahead and get rid of it, we'll be glad to remove it for you. But then again, that has to come from you guys.
So as usual.
Well, Dave, I think any other equipment we put in there, we would still end up having to put concrete footers in.
Probably.
Whatever equipment we put in,
Sure.
that's where a lot of the cost is.
We figured out for Marvin Park, none of that playground stuff. is cheap.
Yeah, we got enough going in the park.
If we could just get the state involved, this $18,000 slide could easily be $98,000.
Oh, yeah.
Just get that
Tomorrow, probably.
I actually had a price of a slide that was cheaper when Mike and I talked, and he said that it had to go through state contract. The price went up.
Yep.
So,
Yeah, as usual. Can't go to Home Depot and buy one. That'd be too easy.
the slide we had was about $7,000. When I looked into with engineering with the state contract, it came back, the same exact slide came back at $13,000. So that's why we changed the slide to a more straight curvature slide, because it was cheaper and still kind of fun to ride kind of thing. So that's $10,000.
Very expensive.
We'll look at it.
Yeah, I guess we'll inspect the slide that's there, see.
Yeah, like I said,
We can fix it with.
I just want to bring it to your
Guide,
attention because it is
paint.
Village Park and the people have come to us with issues about it.
Yeah.
But we would be willing to work with you as well if you want to do something new. And if not, then we're just looking for direction from you guys.
Okay, so just, Jeff, one thought. I mean, you as the Little League, I mean, anybody, right, can donate money to the village to make a purchase, or you can donate a thing. So if you folks went out and bought a 7,000, I mean, assuming that the village was otherwise in agreement that, yeah, we'll take the slide. Go buy it for $7,000 instead of the 13, right? And then donate the slide to the village, and then we can, I'm just obviously there's a lot more due diligence to do, but there's a way to get that $7,000 slide.
Right, there's a way to get around
Yep.
the whole state contract thing.
That's why we have the lawyer.
Um,
That's why we have the lawyer.
That's
Find a loophole, right?
You buy the slide, they give it here. Then we're not buying it, we have to buy it from the state contract.
We just install. That's okay.
So, if you could just let us know what decision you decide and which way you'd like us to go. Then we'll, like I said, if you want it gone, we'll make it gone. That's fine with us, we don't have a problem with that, but just need some direction from you guys. Alright?
We will check into it. I'll keep you posted, I guess.
Alright? Any other questions?
Unimportant, but I'll be over there tomorrow morning looking at it. That's just because that's what we need to do, that kind of stuff.
They're just, if you go there tomorrow morning, just be careful, because there are contractors building a new roof over top of the batting cages. And there's construction materials everywhere and lifts and everything else that'll be moving around and everything tomorrow.
Thank you.
Alright, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, this is unimportant, Joe. Is it you on Temple Street doing something between, Central?
Yeah, we had a leaky valve on the fire hydrant.
Oh, yeah.
It's all open now.
All right. No,
Thanks.
what do we want to do next? Election update?
Election
Get that
update.
out of the way.
You know,
Had one petition put in by the mayor, myself, Charles Fred, and Terry Van Hall. One had,
there's a deadline coming up.
had the deadline, had the required amount of signatures, so I'm working on that. Now, the next thing, at the last meeting, we approved to put something on the ballot for the referendum. So I talked to the conference of mayors, and they said you can put it on the, I said, I don't think I can get it on the front, so they said you can put it on the back, or I'm thinking we go two separate pieces of paper, because if you put it on the back, people don't forget the back of these things. So I'm thinking of one with election card and one with the referendum part. And they said, that's perfectly fine. So what I need from the attorney, like, by, as soon as possible, because I gotta get these things published, what will the second one say? You know, at the bottom, it's gonna be yes or no, but I need all that stuff.
Well, I think the LoSAP people gave us
The big whole long
sample, yeah, well, I don't know about the resolution, but there should be a sample proposition language that I thought they sent. And it just should be much shorter, I mean, it'd basically just be like, shall the volunteer emergency medical service program be approved or not? I mean, that could be something, I think it's almost as simple as that.
Shouldn't it refer to the state recommendation?
Probably not.
Yeah, so I mean, the language, usually it's like, shall this thing be approved?
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it could be the village resolution of this state to approve a, you know, long-term service, whatever the phrasing is for the program, be approved or not.
Let me buzz you tomorrow and see if we can pinpoint down something.
Yeah, Nick-
And I told her I'd run it by Paul real quick, if he's good with it.
Yeah, I mean, Nikki had emailed me and I emailed her back, and my recommendation was actually talk to the county board of elections, because
Well, we did
the
that,
law wasn't clear to
they,
me whether or not you could do it on front, back, or two pieces.
what they said is, ask your attorneys what they told us.
Yeah.
But so the conference of mayors said that they thought it would be a good idea, maybe two separate types of paper, one for election, one for this, maybe two different colors, so when they go pick them up, they just, all the pink ones over here, all the, it's pretty simple. So that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, the standard for elections and running them is basically, was there any significant material defect in the election process? And so, like, I just did a special election with a town, so that was a fun process. I know a lot more about elections than I want. But so, I think, Rob, whatever you come up with, as long as it's reasonable, it preserves confidentiality of person's votes, and we're otherwise able to track everything correctly, the outcome will not be in doubt.
The printing on a second piece of paper would significantly increase our printing costs. And,
I don't,
wouldn't they like possibly get divided and stuff and work a little funny for absentee votes and stuff? Wouldn't it be better just to have it all on the one sheet, like people are used
it'll
to?
be included in the absentee ballot. There's two ballots.
But people are used to, national elections having propositions on the back, school elections having extra propositions on the back. It's
Possibly,
standard.
I'll take it in by.
It'd be nice if it's not that big, we put it around.
Well, so it might be, Rod, that you were thinking the wording was a lot longer than it actually needs to be, so let's.
Right, if we can make it short so it fits on one, I'd be happy with that, but.
Can you send me in Word the ballot form that you have right now? And then, like, just looking at it, I think being able to see it and work with it.
Right.
Okay.
Help that.
Okay, yeah, I mean, yeah, that'd be.
One sheet.
Both good ideas, both good ideas. One page is a good idea, being on the front is a good idea.
A lot of people
I'm just not
don't
afraid to put it on the back.
Yeah, back, not such a good idea.
When you put them on the back, people don't turn this stuff over.
Even if you put a big thing there, it says turn over.
Are these scan ballots or?
No, they're just.
Old school.
Yeah,
All right. It's a safe way to go.
yeah,
Paper
yeah,
ballots, yeah.
yeah. The only way-
Well,
it's just cost. Cheaper.
I think it's important too, that whatever the wording is, that it does say that this is something that is approved by the state of New York. It's not something that we've just come out of the air. It's not that, they're saying,
That's leading. I'm just telling you, that's leading if you put that on there.
I'm trying to be just kind of neutral here in the whole thing.
Right.
well, I'm not saying that you should say that the state of New York says we should do it. It's just that this is,
If the state of New York says we should do it, nobody's gonna want to do it.
Yeah, that's the best way to lose.
but I mean, well,
That's true.
So
I'm
Brad,
just saying if people are concerned about the legality of it.
Brad, if I recall correctly, and I might be wrong, but I believe when it comes to ballot propositions for elections, it's the clerk's office that determines the proposition language itself that makes it onto the ballot.
Right.
Because the board passed a resolution saying, send this off. I think that there might have been sample proposition language in the packet that the LoSAP folks gave us.
Which we're not beholden to.
Which we're not beholden to, but I would default to using that.
I'll work on that tomorrow, if I can make it fit on that one sheet.
Yeah.
But I want to be neutral, I don't want one side to say you did this, or the other side said, well, you didn't say this, so.
Yeah.
I just want it to be,
Be nice
but
if there was some.
on the table when you come in to vote, there'll be a whole setup that'll explain everything, and they get a chance to read it. Yeah. That's what I plan on doing.
That should be there, so both of the people that will read it will read it.
Yeah, right. All one person.
Yeah.
6 people.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna.
All right.
Okay.
Let's do the.
Can we set
DRI.
the date where parties, individuals that are running for the next election can take out picture? Have
Oh, yeah, we can do that.
with Terry.
Set that up. We can do
That
that
would be-
offline.
That would be offline, not anything to do with the vote.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not.
That's it.
But yes, we can do that.
All right.
The board doesn't have to approve.
Right.
The next,
I mean, I can Photoshop, I'm good at that.
You are.
the next thing we have is the DRI ban. So we went out to bid, we got a bid back of, just say like 5 and 4.8, so we went with the 4.8. We got the money today, $2.2 million. We're paying bills tomorrow of about $500,000 to these contractors. So the interest we're gonna have to pay back is about $140,000 on this $3.2 million. But we will be collecting interest on the money that we have. So probably in the long run, we might owe anywhere from $40,000 to $70,000. I'll know a little bit more once we do that. So there'll be an expense, but not as much as we originally thought. We didn't take 4 million, I took 3 million.
Mr. Mayor,
So I think we can do it.
next question for Rodney.
Sure.
So we get the money, we just got it, that starts our interest, blah, blah, blah. We immediately take 500,000 out of that bond money, we immediately pay people. What kind of interest would we owe on that? So we borrowed 3.2, that 500 that's there for 10 minutes, what kind of interest would we owe on that? You understand what I'm saying?
Not exactly.
Yeah, because the idea was that any money we didn't use or whatever, that money, let me think.
No, you're missing the point.
Yeah, no, I'm not getting it.
Yeah, we got interest.
I'm thinking something else.
We're paying a bill of
I'm thinking something else.
out of the 3.2 million. Right?
I was thinking something else, I'm getting it wrong.
But
When the state gives us the money,
Right,
that's
right.
when the interest will stop.
The state
Forget
gives
what I
us-
said.
Right, but when the state gives us back the 900,000 they owe us, that will start drawing interest, so.
Yeah, I got it.
Our interest right now on that is like 4.1 or 4.2.
I was thinking incorrectly, thank
So
you.
we should, it's not gonna be as bad as we originally thought.
Yeah.
So,
Can you remind me what BAN stands for again?
Bond anticipation ban. But anyhow, it's, like I say, we were down to the nubs of the general fund, but now we have 3 point, there's checks into my desk, people are picking them up tomorrow, that's, they've been waiting to get their checks. So,
Ron, is the thought here that by doing because it's a ban, not a
Yeah.
ran?
Yeah, they said it was much easier for them to figure it all out.
So with a ban, you can roll the ban over into up to 2 years, I think maybe 3, or no, you can even do 5, that's right. Is
Right, up to 5.
the idea that the village can then spread out this extra interest cost, or?
No, my idea is to pay this off within 1 year, and that's it. I don't wanna drag it out, but I did have a clause where I can pay it off in advance or pay off a portion of it in advance. So if we get some money ahead, then we can pay off $500,000, whatever, and that'll cut down the interest rate.
But point well taken. If something happened with our finances and stuff and we needed to, for whatever reason, spread it out over a number of years, it's available to us. Always good to have those kinds of options, even though it's not what we want to do, not what you're intending.
I'm not in favor of that.
I didn't say I was in favor. I said it's good to have the option.
I know, I'm just saying, I don't wanna pay them another $100,000 interest.
Yeah, me neither.
I want to pay 10 cents interest.
Get it, pay it off, and be done.
Yep.
That's what we're doing. Got that today, so next time we do a treasurer's report, we'll have money.
Yeah, right.
And hopefully the state will pay us back some money.
Yeah, that'd be nice. They start reimbursing us like they're supposed to.
They haven't paid us since September, October, November, December, January, February. Now, that's 6 months.
It's about time for them to send us a
6
check.
months and they owe us $1 million. That kind of puts a cramp in us.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah.
Our budget's only 3 million.
Yeah, our whole
Yeah,
budget's
we're not a big city.
Yeah. Speaking of treasurer's report, we want to knock it off the list?
Sure.
Everybody get it?
Treasurer's report, we got that.
Anybody have any questions about it?
Could I go?
We're gonna knock these 2 things off and then we'll do you, Julie.
Okay, thanks.
Everybody get the treasurer's report? Anybody have any questions?
Move to accept.
A second.
Any discussion about the treasurer's report? Okay. Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And then we want to do these transfers quick too, get them all.
Sure, just do one.
We can move them all, it's all in motion there for the 3.
Where are they?
Beginning of the first page, second page, ending the beginning of the second page. Just bump the budget for money we received from one account back into the.
So these are Hooker Foundation,
Gives a donation for a
For the street
street sign.
Yeah.
and state grants.
That's the money you,
Oh,
the
that's
Sonia's money that she wants.
Bonus.
So she's gonna get,
COVID bonus.
and we got some money for the
Cops grant.
cops grant. So need a motion on that.
I'll make the motion.
Second. We moved to do all 3, right?
Yes. Any discussion on that? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Let's do the minutes and then let's go to Julie.
As long as they're good, yeah.
Okay, for the minutes, I sent in my trustee report, this afternoon.
Okay.
Did anybody get to see it come through?
I see it.
You did?
Yes.
For,
I know we got it this afternoon.
okay.
Is Then Rusty had one change on his.
Time change, but, so, has Rodney seen yours?
Well,
I know we got it, I didn't.
okay.
You haven't seen it?
Aren't we supposed to have that in by the end of the week before?
Well,
We can
as long as
send-
I get them in, I don't, you know.
As long as we get it.
That, I just had, I just did a little blank for Laura to send you, and she sent it in, that's fine.
So you sent yours to Rodney, all the things you want to change.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what, I could add those to the minutes.
yeah.
And Rusty had a change, I already took his out.
Mine was
Took care of that.
So do we just take your word for it and do it, or do we bother to see it before we do it?
I'm okay, I mean, I think if you send it in, they got it. Should be fine.
Yeah, it's just a report of what we brought up.
Of
So,
stuff that you brought up?
Yeah,
So you want to just clarify what you brought up?
yeah.
Don't tell the detail, just that's all you want to do, is
All
clarify
right,
your stuff.
yes, it's just the list and that explains briefly what I said. Yeah,
I'll just add it in the minutes.
okay.
We'll do approve the minutes.
With those changes.
With those,
Or changes.
with the additions, yeah.
Changes and additions.
And what was your change? Just a small?
One half a sentence of Rodney, put about something like
Okay, cool.
Laura seconded. Okay.
Yeah, I second.
Any other discussion on the minutes? Laura?
that. Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. All right, so now, let's do Julie. Go for it, Julie. You're up.
Hi, everybody. I have one question. How do I get an absentee ballot for a local election? Do I get that through the County Board of Elections? Because I'm still in South Carolina.
No, you get that from my office. We can send you, actually got to fill out a piece of paper. Call tomorrow, and we'll make sure.
Okay. All right. I'll call you.
Is that the message we should put out to everybody?
Well, I haven't gotten printed yet. So
No, I know.
She has to fill an application.
Start generating a list of people that want.
I already got.
Can I, is there an online application for an absentee?
I don't know if there is or not, but
Okay.
No, I mean, it would have, because it's a village-run election, it has to go to the village. If it was
It has to go to the village.
if you were to permanently register as an absentee voter with the county, you could do that.
I have that list already.
Yeah, but I mean, if Julie wanted to also permanently register as an absentee voter, she could do that, and then you could get an updated list
Right.
from the county.
But she would have to do that through the county, not through.
Yeah, but otherwise, it's a direct application to the village.
Okay, so I send Rod an email that says I need an absentee ballot
Something like that.
to start the process, because I'm not a permanent absentee voter. Okay, we'll talk about that. It ended up not the shortest thing. The other thing I just wanted to say, which I assume you guys are now getting tuned into, if you put a new slide in, you need a floodplain development permit because that's in the 100-year floodplain. I don't think it's going to cause a problem, but you need to do the paperwork. Because if you dig and pour concrete in the 100-year floodplain, you just have to document that you did that. So heads up, if that goes, don't forget the floodplain development permit. So I apologize because I thought I sent this document that I'm going to talk through this morning. Laura, did you happen to print it for people?
No.
Okay, so I can share my screen if I'm allowed, and we can just look at it this way. And I emailed it to all of you, so you all have it.
You should be able to share your screen.
Oh, wait, hang on. I got to close all this other stuff. It's not the file. Here, just give me 1 second to kind of clean up my desktop here. Save. Okay. So do you see?
We try to make it better here.
Or do you have a copy of that?
So it's all, you all have it by email now, except for Rusty, but can you see it now?
We can see it.
Yep.
Can you, let me see if I can get it even bigger.
I'm gonna look up.
We zoomed in too, so we can see it.
You can see it? Okay.
There's that one to scroll with us.
Okay, so there's kind of a lot of stuff. And I tried not to make this super wordy, so I admit that it's dense. But I just wanted to go over the hazard mitigation plan, this BRIC DTA proposal, a clean energy communities issue, a climate smart community stuff, and a NYSERDA intern. Nothing is long, but it's 6 different things. So please just stop me whenever. But this is the summary of the hazard mitigation plan update. I don't know that I presented this, right? So we added 4 critical facilities, but a lot more detail. A big thing is there were only 8 vulnerable facilities identified, and we identified 30 more. So that opens up a lot of opportunities for funding and doing things to help vulnerable facilities. We had no village goals, there were only county goals. And so we crafted, starting with the county goals, we crafted village goals. This is, I think, really the big deal. We almost doubled the number of actions. So there were 22 actions in the draft from Barton and LaJudas, and after the 5 public meetings, we ended up with 41 actions. And we have climate adaptation and resiliency planning. So traditionally, right, hazard mitigation plan just looks backwards. This also looked forwards. So it has forward-looking data in it, and we have all of the CRS documentation in there. So this was an enormous effort. This went from like a 50-page document to a 110-page document. I mean, there's a lot of information in here. What that means is that it's going to get us ultimately, not in the short term, I'll talk about that in a bit, 40 climate smart communities points. It's going to get us CRS points. What's the situation now is that the draft was sent to the New York State CRS lead for review, for them to look at it and suggest if we need to make changes to make sure that we're maximizing our points. And I need to actually bug them. I make a note to myself, bug Gina. Because right now I have a couple more changes to make based on like late feedback that I got from USACE and about historic. There's like 10, well, till the end of the month is the end of the public comment period. So if anybody has any last thoughts, they have like a week to get them in. But in addition to CRS, it's become a very significant thing to open up a path to a $150,000 grant for which there is no match to clean energy communities, which there's no way we would have gotten to without this. So we had 5 public meetings. We had 9 to 14 members of the public in every meeting, in addition to the planning committee. And I know that some of you, Fran, Charles, I think you were at some of the meetings. We had really good meetings, and we had a lot of really good conversations. So I'm grateful to that. And I think it really did start to increase awareness of, flood resilience in the village. So it was a huge amount of work, but it was really good. So I just wanted to share that. So moving on to number 2, this is like acronym soup, right? So it's BRIC DTA, which is Building Resilient Infrastructure Communities, Direct Technical Assistance. So BRIC by itself, without the DTA, is one of FEMA's bigger programs for big, huge grants for hazard mitigation. But they realize that being prepared for those isn't easy. So they have the DTA part, which is direct technical assistance. This is what we're applying for. It's not money. It's just people's time. And the ultimate goal of BRIC DTA is to help a community get ready to submit a BRIC application. So it's FEMA saying, we're going to give you people power to help you prepare for an application. And we had Jack Heidi from Resilience, FEMA Resilience Division, talk to us about it. And what we learned from him is that exactly what we ask for is not super critical. What's really critical is that we show that we're a disadvantaged community, and we show that we have an active hazard mitigation plan, and we show that we have potential partnerships. Those are the things that they want to see. Once they pick you, they said, you're going to sit down with FEMA after you discuss your community. You may completely change what you ask for. So we thought intentionally about what we were going to ask for, but in the end, it may change. So this is the application. This has to go in on the 29th. So there's nothing, and it's very short. It's 2 pages. There is nothing exciting about any of this. The hazards that we identified are drought, cold, heat, flood, hail, hurricane, lightning, tornado, severe winter weather, wildfire, pandemic. So, and it said pretty much, you know, everything that you can think of. So that's all of them. So this is the 1 page. And this box up here is just describe the disasters. And this is just straight out of the hazard mitigation plan. And these are FEMA declared disasters. That's just is what it is. This one is what we're asking. And so what we're saying is that given our extreme flood risk, we would like critical infrastructure evaluation to the 0.2% flood event per ADISH's recommendation for the 32 critical facilities identified in our 2024 Community Informed Village Annex to the Hazard Mitigation Plan update. So I've put like every positive thing in there that I can. And this is what Division of Homeland Security and Emergency Services has said. This is what set the county in a tiz, that they want critical infrastructure evaluated to the 0.2% flood event. That's a really big ask. So I think that's an obvious thing for us to ask for, to say, hey, help us evaluate these buildings. The second one that we're asking for is to extend. So USACE a few years ago, the Army Corps, that's US Army Corps of Engineers, did an Upper Susquehanna study. In that Upper Susquehanna study, they did not rule out further study of the Owego Creek as it pertains to village flooding. So, and Wendy Walsh at Tioga County Soil and Water is very interested in this, and they're doing some of this. And this would be about looking at reconnecting floodplain upstream of the village, expanding floodplain upstream of the village so that the water doesn't come into the village. So it would be to study how can the floodplain be managed upstream of the village to try to protect the village. That's number 2. And number 3 is just a general bucket of education, because as we know, everybody needs education, right? We, you know, planning, zoning, board, residents, everybody needs education on how to become more flood resilient and how to reduce our risk. So that's the third thing that we ask for. Does anybody have any comments, concerns about those 3 things? All good? Groovy. Okay, and so the proposed deliverables is basically just a reinstatement, a restatement of the first three. And the big thing is that we said it's basically, we're guessing it would be a 3-year project. And that again is all negotiable, but this is tied to that. So have we received HMGP in the last 5 years? Yes, because we have one now that's going. And then this is the last bit of text for this, right? So we're a FEMA CEDARS, that's your next alphabet soup, which is Community Disaster Resilience Zone, right? We're one of 483 communities in the country that have been designated as the most at risk. We have the DEC disadvantage designation, and the Climate and Economic Justice Screening Tool lists us as vulnerable, and our social vulnerability is very high. So all of this stuff, which is awful for us, is good for getting this grant. So that's just the compilation of that information. I put the word potential in here because this is potential. I haven't talked to all of these people yet. Between now and the end of the week, I'll try to do that. But just for your, edification, who we're thinking, this would be DPW and the Climate Smart Communities Task Force working with Soil and Water, which Wendy Walsh already agreed to. Tioga County Office of Emergency Services now has a new head, Corinne, who I've tried to get in touch with. I haven't gotten in touch with her yet. Jeff Winchell said she's great. So I'm pretty excited about that possibility, but we haven't connected yet. I don't know if she's out. Waterman Conservation Center, we thought could be a very good education partner. The Northeast Regional Climate Center, Colin Evans is on the CSC task force, and he said that he would ask if Cornell would officially partner with us. Southern Tier 8 and Cooperative Extension of Schuyler County is our Climate Smart and Clean Energy Communities partners who are very strongly with us. And Laura identified Standard Battery as a company that would be interested to help us. So that's it. That's all that application is. And at this point in time, it's a matter of, I think, you guys resolving if this can be submitted. Or is there any other conversation about this? And this is due on the 29th.
3 p.m.
I don't see any issue with it.
Rusty's
Yeah, we're
out
roughly.
the door for a minute. Like, I think he went to go get water, he said.
Do you want me to just keep going and you'll come back to it, or?
Yeah. I don't know.
Oh,
Wait,
hold on,
Rusty's
here
coming.
he's,
He's getting his water.
I was joking.
Joking.
we just got to the end of the
So what do you want me
document.
for?
We just need to resolve to submit this puppy.
Do you have any questions?
Not that we can answer here within 10 hours.
Okay. So I
Looks fine to me.
propose that we vote to approve Julie to send in this application for the BRIC DTA.
I'll second that.
Okay. Do we have any discussion questions? Rusty?
Yes?
Laura?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes. Okay, send that baby in.
Okay, and we should have a pretty good shot at getting this, given our status and given all that we've been doing lately. So, okay, cool. That one's good. So this one gets a little confusing, but I'm going to try to make it not confusing. So clean energy communities is the thing that we are in a very advantageous position for, thanks to Jerry Wiley, who has done a ton of work and should really be recognized for everything that she's done. So we are now eligible for a $90,000 grant. The only thing, but it hasn't, like the clock hasn't started. Once we submit the paperwork that shows that we have the number of points to get this grant, it starts a 3-month clock, at which time we have to have an application submitted. And so we had a really good meeting with the ad hoc committee that was, you know, Laura and Fran and me and Jerry and Mike and Kevin, and talked about how should we spend this $90,000. And we landed on 2 top choices to do that. One would be looking at solar. If you put it, just exploring, what would it be to put it on the wastewater treatment plant on Elm Street, on Temple, 90 Temple, or in the cemetery, back up high in the cemetery. So what we're asking for is permission for an assessment. An assessment doesn't cost us anything. It doesn't even require a solar company to come. They just kind of look at a map and they make an assessment. But we were asking permission to have that assessment done to understand, does it make sense for us to try to spend this $90,000 on solar? The other option is to spend it on 90 Temple Street. So I communicated with the engineer from Hunt, and I found out that for the work that's already been done on 90 Temple Street, there was no energy audit done. And so an energy audit could possibly be free. It could possibly not be free. It possibly could cost a couple $1,000s. We have $5,000 of unspent Clean Energy Communities money that was initially targeted for an EV charger. And Mike Brown is going to ask NYSERDA, could we possibly reallocate that $5,000 to an energy audit of 90 Temple Street? So the next thing that we're requesting is, could we possibly use part of that $5,000 grant for an energy audit of 90 Temple Street, and then work with Hunt and work with, because they're already doing some work in 90 Temple Street, but just to explore, are there other things that we could be spending that money on to improve the energy efficiency of 90 Temple?
So just for a second, what that entails, their energy efficiency up, so it's an audit to see if we can have these things. You do an energy efficiency upgrade, or you would purchase clean energy equipment. So they would look to see if we could have solar panels and heat pumps for the building. So the windows, the exterior doors, the insulation in the building, the electrical panel upgrades, air source heat pumps, heat pump water heaters, ground source heat pumps, solar panels, and a battery storage system. So those are all the things that the energy audit would look to see if we can have for that building, and give us recommendations.
I'm not sure about one piece, Julie.
Sure.
You were saying that we hadn't done an energy audit or whatever it was, exactly what things we've already done to that building. Is there any chance if we did one, we could get paid back for money we already spent on that?
Oh, that work has not been done yet. It was just proposed. So we could. Yeah, so what we've done is we've got this order for doing the interior storms and fixing the windows.
Mhm.
But what they didn't do is get an assessment to say what energy savings are happening for the building, or, you know, what's the best course for us to be doing this work. So we could see if if we could take the current work that's happening and ask them if we could get the energy assessment and then use this money to pay for the things that we're already trying to pay for with ARPA money.
Yeah,
So,
that-
I'm hearing all that, although I'm very skeptical that the state is going to allow us to have state grant money over here for this and then piggyback that with other grant money. Almost never will they let us do that.
But
I mean,
they're all state-run programs, so it'd be saying to the state, you want to give us money for this, and you want to give us money for this. Let's meet both goals at the same time. Like, they're looking for us to figure these out, and so
Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't.
yeah. So we
Well-
could ask Hunt to allow us to include a energy audit or something, or to like not exclude an energy audit in the window work. And we're doing this work already. Why pay twice when we could get a lot of it paid for?
So one of the things here, just half a second, one of the things here is we don't ask Hunt to allow us to do something. We find out what we want Hunt to tell us what the rules are. We want to make Hunt's making way too many decisions. We want to make these decisions. We just want to know what we can and can't do.
So Hunt told me per email that an energy audit was not in their scope of work. So whoever created their scope of work did not include an energy audit. So the question is, do you want to change their scope of work? Or how do you want to go about it? I think this could go under, just an exploration of if somebody can just see, can you marry these two state programs or not? If it's just a matter of looking into it, seeing what the boundary conditions are and what could be done and what couldn't be done. It's just, if we're going to do that, we just got to move.
See an issue doing that. I wouldn't want to add it to Hunt's statement of work now, because it's been a mess for a while.
Never seems to work well for us.
Yeah, we'll try
So-
this.
I mean-
So back to it again, we have $5,000 in grant money or whatever kind of money that we could possibly use for this energy audit. So our
Correct.
decision is-
We had it slated for a electric car charger.
Mhm.
That's being funded through another grant, I think a NYSERDA grant. So it's.
So we can find another use for that 5,000. So the question, I believe that we're talking about is whether or not we want to fund a.
But we have to get permission to reallocate that $5,000. And Mike Brown said that he was going to inquire. I can check in with him if he got an answer, but he was going to ask for permission for us to reallocate it.
Yeah, that'd be good to find out if we can.
Yeah, I'll find out.
Or if we have to do it for another charger somewhere.
And Julie, you were saying that this has a, once again, time when this stuff has to be done by?
Yes.
If he says that we could and we got permission to do it, what's our timeline?
So once or Mike, I think, is actually going to file the paperwork to, once he files the paperwork that says to Clean Energy Communities, we have 3,000 points, then we have 3 months from that time to submit a proposal. So that's, and the other thing with this is that this is this Clean Energy Communities pot of money that when it's gone, it's gone. And between now and October 1st, the amounts that you get for all of these actions is higher. After October 1st, all of the numbers go down. So it behooves us to do this sooner than later. And it's really a $60,000 grant, but because we're a disadvantaged community, we get an extra 50%. So for us, it's a $90,000 grant with no match.
We remember Michael told us that stuff. He said that all those things in October, it goes away and it has a certain amount. He told us how much that amount was, and you want to get in on that because as people grab pieces, then there's less and less.
There's less and less. And it doesn't go away in October, it just gets lower.
It changes.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's free money.
Yeah, exactly. It's free money. So the question is, can we have permission to get a solar assessment and and could the energy audit be done if we can reallocate that money to pay for it? I think there's also a possibility that we could get a free one, but the free one may bust our 3-month timeline. So it may behoove us to pay $3,000 to get 90,000. You know, that's like a no-brainer. So
Did the ad hoc committee, as they looked at various possibilities, was one of the possibilities an electric vehicle?
Yes,
You guys looked at that?
yes. We thought that, electric vehicle might be a nice thing for like code enforcement.
Exactly.
And also, looking into electric landscaping, things. So it's like,
equipment.
Battery powered.
yeah, battery powered, lawn mowers and stuff like that, because we would have the money to buy them through this. And then also, like, so it's all sort of combined, like if we could get an electric charger put on the building over here and have like the equipment be charged and have an electric charge, like, so it's ways to get more things drawn, like, you know, like getting an electric car, we'd find a way to get a charger for the building, right? And
Didn't
so,
I ask Fred last week, last meeting about that? I don't think he was too keen on it.
Definitely not on the.
well, maybe not for his trucks.
He wasn't keen on the electric mowers and things like that. I don't know if we asked him directly about an electric car for code. Oh, I know, but I remember he wasn't real keen on electric mowers and things like that. I think that's what he said.
Yeah.
But like, those are further possibilities. They're not these immediate ones, but it's
Right.
on the list for the
Thank you.
further money.
Back to Julie, because we're wasting our time. Sorry, I just wanted to ask that.
So should we make a motion to approve her to explore these? Yep. Two options.
I motion, that the climate energy committee members, explore the solar assessment and the 90 Temple energy audit.
So ready? So Julie's saying that getting the solar information is free, that solar company tells us that, so that's fine. But we do have to make a decision about how we're going to explore this energy audit, do we need to make a decision today, what we're going to do about that, or whether we're going to spend the money on that, or what?
I think Julie would find out if we can use that grant money to do it.
So is that right, Julie? That's the exploration, to find out if we can use, from Mike or whoever's going to find out whether we can use that grant money for the energy audit.
Yeah, so that's, and I'll check in with him. Theoretically, he's already has that question in to NYSERDA. Yeah, it's not, this isn't, I think, you know, spending that money, I don't know if we need to know in 2 weeks about that. So, I mean, I think at the next meeting, it's probably fine to bring that up again, and hopefully we'll have an answer if we can reallocate our $5,000 grant.
Like Nate said,
And the expectation is it's like, I guess, $2,000 to $3,000 was Mike's guess on what it would cost. So it's not a big bill.
like Nate said, if we do end up paying for that, and it's not free, we'll need some kind of a contract with somebody to do that. We'll have to approve anyway.
Okay.
Okay. We got a motion and a second. Anybody else have any questions about it? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Trevor?
Yes.
And yes.
All right, and I'll also ask Mike if he thinks there's any chance we would get it free. Because, you know, if we can maybe really start exploring that. So now, the next one is a $150,000 grant, which this is a $100,000 grant. As a disadvantaged community, we get our 50% bump. This one, we would have to be a bronze community. This is where this whole thing starts coming together of this strategy of having CRS and CEC and CSC and have them all work for us. Because if we get bronze in enough time to get 5,000 points, in enough time to have an application ready by October 1, we could get $150,000 with no match of free and clear money. So in addition to the 90, yeah, in addition to the 90. So now we're at, you know, we're at $240,000. And so the kicker is we need CSC bronze is the only way we're going to do that because it's a lot of points. Other actions aren't going to get us there fast enough. So there's an April 1st there's only 2 deadlines a year to submit for bronze status in climate smart communities. And honestly, if we get bronze status this year as a disadvantaged community 1 year into the program, that's like crazy, right? That much was done in a year. But we really have a viable path. So right now we have 78 points uploaded into the portal. Remember, the magic number is 120. So the climate vulnerability assessment. So this is the thing. Our hazard mitigation plan doesn't count because it only counts after the village board has passed it. But you guys can't pass it yet because you're not going to have it to pass until probably August, until it's going to be ready. So the climate adaptation plan, so like 20 points now are inaccessible. They'll be accessible later, but it's too late for this action. But there's still another higher level of funding that they could go towards. But now we have to focus on getting bronze. But because we did the climate adaptation plan, Ashley Seafried did this climate vulnerability assessment, which gets 16 points, which is a lot. And we evaluated policies for climate resilience, which gets 6 points. These are done. So now we're at 100. Heat pumps, this is the action where it was just in the paper holding up the signs for the wastewater treatment plant. That action of having the energy for that and for 22 Elm, that gets us 17 points, which is also a lot, right? I mean, these are more than 10% of the way there actions. So now we're at 117. Culverts and dams is an action of assessing them that Wendy Walsh said soil and water could do by March. That gets us to 119. Laura and Kevin said they would do a fleet inventory. And Jerry Wiley made this nice spreadsheet just to be filled out where you just have to fill in a bunch of information on all of the vehicles. That would get us 4 points. If we do a social media action, that would get us 3 points. That's 126. But we need to go in. We can't go in with 120 because NYSERDA may kick some of them out, right? You go in, you say, I'm asking for this. This is my documentation. Here's my justification. They may say yes or they may say no. So we want to have enough of a buffer so that if they kick some out, we don't go below 120. One thing that's come up, and I know Laura's going to talk about it later, but could really help us is the unified solar permit, which is something that just makes the life of a code enforcement officer easier. And that's going to be talked about more. That does not have to be voted on today. This would have to be done in a month. You still have a meeting or two where this could be talked about. So I don't want to waste time on it, and I don't want to go down the rabbit hole on that. But if this were done, we would have an 11-point buffer, which hopefully will be enough. And you can only do this April 1st and September 1st. So if we do this April 1st and we fall short, then we would have to wait and go for a lower grant. But we really need to try to do this because it's a lot that we can go for. So does anybody have any questions about that? Okay.
A unified solar permit, what's that involved?
So what that is it's a way to make the code enforcement officer's life easier to permit solar. And I think Laura, you have it on the docket to talk more about that at the next board meeting, right?
It's on this agenda.
Oh, it's on this agenda. Okay, well then I will. So yeah, and it's an action that's been adopted in many other places. But it's a make the code enforcement officer's life easier action. And there's honestly not a lot of places you can put solar in the village. So there's probably not a lot of issues with this anyway, but I will leave that for the later discussion. The next thing is I've gone back and forth with the DEC, and we still have to close the Climate Smart Communities contract. We're, almost a year into this, but the documents with the DEC are still not signed. I've been told some projects don't sign them until 2 years into the grant, but we can't do this. We really need to get this done because most of our money is going to Barton and LaJudas, who has kind of won't help us until they have a contract because we can't pay them. So just to give you the overview of, we talk about climate smart communities all the time, but what really is this proposal about? And our climate smart communities proposal was all about getting in the CRS. And so over the last year, that work plan going back and forth with DEC has evolved to basically the set of actions that the village needs to take to get into the CRS. So the first thing we have to do is we have to close the CAV, which was the community assistance visit in 2019 when FEMA came in, identified the violations. The big one was Weitzman. That's almost done. So closing this 2019 CAV should happen this year. Then what has to happen is we have to evaluate what's happened between 2019 and now, and we have to deal with that. We'll leave that one at that. Other things that will be done is a crosswalk of looking at CRS, CEC, clean energy communities, climate smart communities, community rating system, and finding our sweet spot of what actions will get us the farthest that give us benefit from those three programs. And we put the CRS informed village annex to the hazard mitigation plan, which basically we check off of the list. And, after we resolve whatever issues there are for NFIP compliance, then you do a CRS quick check, you get approval to apply, and we apply. So it's really all of the steps that have to be taken for us to apply to the CRS, as well as some community education and outreach in the community informed hazard mitigation plan. So it's a 5-year grant. And if you remember, it was $25,000 from the state with a 50% match, right? So we had to put in or 100% match. We had to put in 25. And what was resolved is that 15,000 of the village 25 is in-kind effort of Mick and Meg's time. So we can justify 15,000 a year as their time. 10,000 is paying part of my annual salary, and 2,500 a year for municipal and community education and outreach. So this 2,500 a year. So Mick Knapp is going to the 1-week course. Yay. For the CFM course, he's going to Oriskany. If there's any expenses that aren't covered, it could come out of here. If he takes the CFM test, his test fee could come out of here. If we have a workshop for the community, it could come out of here. So that is the budget. And that is the description of the program. And what I didn't write in here is I need permission to take this back to the DEC as something that you guys are okay with.
That would be the resolution on the agenda to approve the Climate Smart Communities Grant Budget Work.
So I'll motion to approve that.
Second.
Okay, any questions, discussion on that?
Just make it clear. So we're approving what we just saw up there.
Yeah, that,
Yep.
what Julie just presented.
Yep.
5-year program budget.
Which is what we have already
We've already approved.
got kind of approved.
Yeah.
Now it has to
But
be-
not officially.
Now it has to be approved in a different manner for different things. Okay.
Rusty,
Yes.
Laura,
Yes.
Dave,
Yes.
Fran,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
yes.
Okay. So I will, I mean, there's obviously more detail in the work plan. Then I will send a final copy to who wants it? The mayor and Rod and Laura and the DEC. I'll just send it to everybody. Is there anybody else? Nate, do you want to be on there?
Not really, but I mean, feel free to copy me.
Yeah, it's a contract. I mean, I assume you review contracts, but
Yeah, if it's a
Uh,
contract, yeah.
pardon?
If it's the overall contract that we need to sign, yes, that may definitely be. Yeah.
Well, and then what has to happen is we need to generate the work plan from, because then the village has to subcontract to me and to Barton and LeJudas, and we need to make those work plans. But I didn't think we could make those work plans until this is cleared by DEC. Fair enough. So, okay. All right, great. The last one is, this one costs a little bit of money, but it costs less than $1,000. How much less than $1,000, I'm not sure. But what this is NYSERDA has a clean energy intern program. And we had a meeting with Montour Falls, with a consultant from Montour Falls. And they have had several summers of clean energy interns, and they've all been, that she said, absolutely fantastic Cornell students. And so you get them for the summer, and it's like 30 to 40 hours a week for 8 to 10 weeks. NYSERDA pays them $17 an hour, or they get paid $17 an hour. The village kicks in a little bit to the tune of somewhere in the vicinity of $1,000. NYSERDA pays for the rest. The application, this is another thing that I would ask permission if I can just apply for us to get an intern. If the way that it works is the communities apply and then the interns apply. And then once they approve, I assume once they approve our application, then we can look at all of the interns who have applied. And I would assume that the ad hoc committee for clean energy communities could also be the committee that then looks at these applicants. But we need to do this sooner than later because students are already very much planning their summers. And generally, you get a Cornell student who's local, who's just here because we're not housing anybody on $17 an hour, obviously. So you get a student who lives locally. And we had a really good conversation about, and as an educator, as somebody who taught at Cornell for a lot of years, when you have a limited time program like this, you need to give a student a very defined project. And if you give a student a very defined project with guardrails and boundaries, then you can get a lot out of them. So one of the things that we thought we could do is community campaigns. And you can have community campaigns for solar, for EVs, for clean heating and cooling, demand response, which I was not sure what that meant, hence the question mark. But each of those gets so a community campaign gets us clean energy communities and climate smart communities points. And it could be very social media heavy, very young person compatible. So that was our idea. We could certainly be open to other ideas for what that intern could do. And the nice thing is that once you've applied once, then you're automatically in it. And if you want an intern subsequent summers, you're already in there to be able to get one. So we only apply once. And I think it's not a big deal application. So so if you want to discuss that, and I would request permission to submit an application to that program. If we submit an application, it doesn't oblige us that we have to take an intern, right? It's just saying we want to join this program.
So my question is, what else do we need to supply this intern with? Like, obviously, they're gonna need a place to sit, computer.
Yeah.
We'll call it office.
I don't think so. It was the other program where we had to supply them a desk because that was a year long. The internship thing, they're just working on, hold on a second. Yeah.
What stuff do you have here?
But is there no desk in 22 Elm that they could use for a summer? It would be nice if they had a desk. Is there any empty desks?
So Mike, yeah, we're talking about this, but other concerns on that? Someone has to direct this person. They don't know
Correct.
what they're doing. They're educated, so there has to be someone to direct them. They have to have a place to do it, whatever, office, desk, everything. Then they have to have support staff. Our office people don't have time and energy for this. I'm just wondering what other pieces have to come with this?
Yeah, they gotta get an account, you know, computer.
Yeah, that's all fair. That's all fair, Rusty.
Yeah, it's just the questions.
Right. There is a bit of an internal infrastructure piece to it. If that can be resolved, getting a really smart, energetic student, they can do a lot of good in 10 weeks. But there is a hurdle, admittedly.
So we discussed two different programs with Montour's Falls. One of them, you had to give them a desk and healthcare and stuff like that, and that was a year-long program. The internship program, these internships, depending on their campaigns, they're going out to farmers markets and telling people like information and stuff. They're coming into the office and they'd be giving us a presentation and stuff. It's more of a specific campaign goal where they wouldn't need an office for what they're doing. Yeah, they're just working on a specific task. They don't need a.
But I think, I mean, do you expect them to do this whole thing remotely then?
I don't know. That's what.
I mean, it seems like, yeah, I mean, they could probably use a conference room. Yeah, they could probably use a conference room.
I don't think we have to
For,
work out the details of it now, but like when they were talking about it, it wasn't, like somebody like the mayor or their CEC coordinator advised the person on what the campaign was, what they were doing, and the intern reported back. And they said that the interns knew more than the officials about what to do and the programs. And so it's not like they were running it out of the offices.
No, and I think the intern would work with the Climate Smart Communities Task Force,
Yeah.
right? I think the task force would take a lot of responsibility for the intern, but the intern would, they may need to use the printer in the office. They may, there's going to be some need. I don't expect it to be an enormous need. They may have their own laptop. I don't know if they're going to need a computer. That's a good question.
Yeah, we can figure that out. I mean, we have computers. Rusty?
So I'll make sure I got it straight. If you start this process where you're going to potentially ask for, put in an application, ask for this intern, as we move along the process and we get approved to do that, we don't have any downside in stopping the process any place in the middle. If we decide not to do it, we don't lose anything, we don't get looked at badly, we don't get put in the wrong pile, we're okay.
Yeah, I don't think so. I can double check on that, but there was no statement that I've read so far. I mean, you could just say, I didn't like any of the interns. It's an interview process, right?
Yeah, I understand, we get to choose that. I'm just, as we're asked to
Yeah,
do these
no,
things,
that's fair.
you gotta do it fast, you gotta do it sooner, or you're gonna lose. And so when we make decisions that I'm not usually comfortable in making immediately, if it has no downside, then
There's probably not much risk here.
not much risk, no
Yeah.
downside, then I'm a little more comfortable in saying, sure, go ahead, just like we did on that, find out more information about the energy audit and stuff. We didn't commit to anything, so I'm more, me personally, willing to.
Yeah, and Rusty, I don't foresee if I thought there was a downside, I would tell you. I don't see any downside in this, and I really don't see any risk. Other than it takes just a little bit of time to make the application. It's pretty low.
Yeah, I don't really see a downside to saying, yeah, we're interested. Now what?
So, Julie, that's something, is that another thing that you will be doing? You'll be making the application for that?
Yeah.
Who's gonna make that?
Pardon?
Who's gonna make the application for this?
I would do that.
Okay. So is that what we want to do?
Yeah. Want to make that motion?
All right, make a motion.
I'll make the motion for Julie Nucci to apply, to fill out and apply this for the application for the NYSERDA intern.
Second, is that the whole motion?
Yeah.
Second.
Any other questions or discussion? Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Charles?
Yes.
And yes.
Okay, that's all I got. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
Yeah, thank you for all your work, Julie.
You're very welcome. And Fran, thank you for helping and thank you for the marathon meeting, but it was a good one. We got a lot done. So I will call on you again to help screen interns.
Okay.
So we got,
Can you change it back to a regular screen so we can see?
oh, yeah. Julie, can you, there you go.
So we can see Julie. We want to see Julie.
All right, so we don't normally do this, but do we have any public comment in the?
Me.
Okay.
Okay, so my name is Sherry and I live on East Temple Street. And first of all, I'd like to know what the noise ordinance is for the village of Owego. That's the first question. The second question is what, we've been going back and forth on the Owego community page about rules and regulations of roosters in the village. I have a rooster that is across the street and three of your counter members live closer to the rooster than some of them. My kids had been, continuously, my bedroom's on the other side of the house, but my kids were continuously telling me about this rooster crowing all night long. Well, my brother, who has just recently obtained a traumatic brain injury, was home this weekend, and I was upstairs, and this rooster, he crows all day and he crows all night, as my boy Charles here. And so at one point I was told that roosters weren't allowed in the village, and then somebody said there's no ordinance for roosters, but there is an ordinance for dogs, because I will bring this back to the same people that have the roosters. My dogs are kept in the house, and I have a bigger dog that was barking at their dog. In turn, I ended up with the police at my door because my dog was outside barking. Hence, I bought a shock collar and a bark collar for my dog. I don't know, like the rooster thing, like I don't care who has what, but the constant crowing all night long is an interruption. I work in medical, I work in an OR, I have to be on call, let alone everything else. And when you have this rooster crowing all the time, interrupting your work, it's gonna make a fatality because you're not getting enough rest. So I don't, I'm speaking on behalf of like myself and my neighbors, so I don't know. And my comment on Facebook is that, what if there's not gonna be any rules and regulations to crowing birds in the yard, then I'm gonna get some guinea hens, and they are gonna screech and holler, and then we'll see what happens then, so. But that's my comment for today.
So we've been looking at.
Sherry, would you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Would you tell me your name and spell it?
Yeah,
I have
my
it.
name is Sherry, Sherry. Last name is two parts, Stearns. Hyphen.
T-E-A-R-N-S, yep.
Yep, Lozado, Lozado.
Thank you.
Like I said, I don't care if they have the rooster, it's just the fact that it crows continuously. It's just, and if you guys came and, stayed at Charles's house, or, I don't know if you can hear him down there at your house.
I've got my own next door.
Yeah, right next
Oh, you
to
got
me.
your own next door? But, it just, like I said, I don't know.
It's also the housing, how they're kept.
That's true.
Yeah, because the other thing too, and Charles can speak on this too, you have 4 or 5 large, there's one rooster, I thought there was 2 roosters, but they're all in this tiny little spot that's probably like from here to here, and maybe to that, it's a small spot.
It's covered with tarp.
There's no hay in there, there's no, they have a tarp on top, but, it's like rigidly cold, and anybody that I know that has like farm animals and chicken coops usually has some type of heat or something for the chickens, or whatever they have that's in a thing.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, but I just wish that you guys would look into it. I'm not trying to be the B word, but it's
Yeah.
just.
No, appreciate it.
There was,
It is on our to-do list as
Yeah.
far as a chicken law.
Yeah, we have a list, a punch list here.
Yeah.
And we look at number 6 on the list, that's chicken and roosters in the village.
Okay.
All right, so
But
we are,
there
it is
was
on the list of
ordinances.
things to conquer.
There was an ordinance that was posted, but it specified the town of Owego.
No, but I posted another one for the village.
Village, okay.
But the village has it in there as fowl, for some reason they have fowl and dogs listed in the same category.
Right.
So, and the fowl part is real small, but then you have this dog with like excessive barking, and, like you can be fined up to X amount, like if your dog is running the street, or if they're, you don't have them under control, or if they're causing a nuisance to the neighbors.
And no stipulation could be applied to the rooster.
Right.
Yeah. We've had that issue.
Well, I don't care what y'all do.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we've got several other neighborhoods too that are having similar problems,
You know,
so it is a great need.
yeah, I mean, like if you live in the country or more not in the village, but if you live in the town of Owego, and you're a little bit further apart and, you have room to let your animals do whatever they need to do. That's one thing, but like in the village, everything is so close to each other, you know what I'm saying? So,
It was interesting to me to notice that, which we found in researching all this, that the town actually has more laws for specifically roosters than we do.
oh, right, yeah, I know, right? So,
Rusty?
So we've had numerous complaints about chickens and just recently a lot about roosters. So it's, that we're not unaware of this. I will take a chunk of blame because some time ago, the code officer came to us with concerns about various animals in the village of Owego and the fact that we have almost no rules about them. And I had signed up to attempt to draw up a law. The town of Owego law, he had the village of Horseheads law, had some other laws, and I had said that I would do that, and then I have not done that. And that's been for quite a while now. So that's one of the things that gets pushed aside and stuff. So I have responsibility in not doing what I said I would do, and I will now. It doesn't mean that I have to do, but I will now go back to the code enforcement officer and try to get working on this sooner than later.
yeah.
That's that piece. I don't believe that we have a viable noise ordinance, so I don't believe that it will work for
So-
roosters because we don't have it.
Right, but so the village does not have a noise ordinance?
Well,
The village does,
It's-
chapter 146.
it's just, it's just a, yeah, it's a,
So, but if
It's
that's the
somewhat
case,
vague.
though, can I ask you
Could
a
use
question
a
real quick? So if that's the case, then back when I first moved in, and Charles knows, we used to do a lot of things with the kids, from the village of Owego, remember? And we used to have them come swim in the pool and cook them hot dogs and hamburgers on the weekends and so on and so forth. And, like they used to play basketball and, ride their skateboards. I don't know, were you here, Mark, or Mike, or, Mike on at the end of the street? It don't matter. But anyway,
16 years.
but I had a police officer come to my door because someone called because the kids were outside and they were making too much noise. Now, really, they were just kids. They weren't yelling and screaming. They were just out there playing ball. We were in the pool. And I was told that the village had a noise ordinance. And I said, okay, well, most places it's after 10 o'clock or after 11 o'clock. And then I was told that if I didn't disperse them, that, they didn't quiet down, that I was gonna be in trouble. So that's where I'm trying to figure out, really, is there a noise ordinance or there is not a noise ordinance? So that, you can't, I don't know.
There is one, and I think if you have a noise complaint, call the police. I mean, and see if they'll be willing to come out and talk to the owner.
Right, but that's just like saying if I live next door to you and your kids were playing outside in the yard just having fun and I called and complained and said, hey, listen, can you go and talk to that guy because they're making way too much noise? Does that seem sensible to you? And especially if you were doing something to help the kids in the neighborhood who didn't have nothing else, you're
There's
providing.
lots of people are really crotchety.
Yes, I
Unfortunately,
know.
right? And but that is why you call the police. The police have to come out. They will listen. If they also find that the cock is crowing, I don't know, unreasonably.
Okay.
Then, I mean, because part of it is it's an enforcement issue.
Right.
Neighbors hear things, then they call, then the police show up, and then the police don't hear anything because the issue is not happening at that time. Police have to catch it in order to really say, okay, we've got problems. So, I mean, call the police. If the rooster is crowing, call the police. Hopefully they come out and catch the rooster crowing and they can say something to the property owner, much like what we were talking about.
Do you know whose bad side I'm gonna be on then? Like, I really try
My
not to
neighborhood.
call.
welcome to the bad sides.
You can do a non-emergency number
What's that?
There's a non-emergency number to the police station and
Yeah.
they would take your call.
I'll just.
So,
Yes.
and if I might. Sure. I have the code in chapter 146 noise ordinance.
Okay.
And it says, unnecessary and unreasonable noise is prohibited, it's one sentence. Subject to the provisions of this chapter, the creation of any unreasonably loud, disturbing, and unnecessary noise is prohibited. Noise of such character, intensity, and duration as to be detrimental to the life or health of any individual or contrary to the public welfare is prohibited. So that's very vague, that's there, no, it is. And then next chapter says, next statement says enumeration of prohibited noises, and it says the following act among others are blah, 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 blah. And then it lists a number of things, of course, nothing about
Chickens.
animals or anything like that.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, that's what I said when the noise ordinance is somewhat vague, but who knows? But that doesn't mean that we can't make new rules.
Right.
It doesn't mean we can't prohibit.
So Rusty, to that point, right, I would say, call the police, see if they will issue a ticket. If the police or the DA's office, which prosecutes this, have concerns about the law and won't prosecute it, then we can change it. I can tell you the city of Syracuse had a reasonable person noise ordinance, a little more detailed than this, but it's the same concept. And that law was found to be constitutional and upheld in court. So this is, if we need to tweak the law, we can, but this type of standard is.
So basically what you're telling me is that either like myself or Charles, you better get on the phone. Have to call and make police reports for this to happen.
Well, the village board can't. The village board doesn't have enforcement authority to take the law and go to somebody and say, oh, you're in violation of it. That's the.
No, I'm not asking that. I was just basically asking if there could be rules put in place, because the police they're already overworked and underpaid and understaffed, why, and this is my viewpoint, why harass them with a freaking chicken call, because there's a rooster? I mean, that's just they could be doing other things besides saving someone's life.
The attorney is correct. That is one of your potential remedies.
Right.
And this is just my opinion. With the nature of the way the laws are working in New York State right now, the idea that someone is going to actually come and give a ticket, someone's going to prosecute that, someone's going to find that, is probably not tremendously likely, but that's still one of your remedies. I'm thinking that the village board is going to take up this issue of various more animal control laws in the village of Owego. That might include chickens and roosters and farm animals, et cetera, et cetera. We've been meaning to. I believe we'll take it up. We'll see how that goes. There'll be public hearing, of course, to do that law. It wouldn't surprise me if that law didn't say that you can't have roosters in the village of Owego. But that would be, I don't know that that's how it'll go, but that would be certainly a solution to that.
Well, I have chickens, right, like my neighbor, right next door to me, has chickens. They don't cause a problem.
I didn't say
But
that.
I'm hearing and I'm learning that they also attract rodents.
Yes.
And that's the problem.
And that's the other thing too,
There's all kinds of
because this particular, and I'll just say this. So this particular individual that I'm speaking about, their coop is right next to, God, I can't think of his name, Brian Roby's, the greenhouse, there is an apartment complex. And what happens is there's no, like I said, there's no bottom on the chicken coop, so it goes on the ground. Okay, yes, it's fertilizer, but chicken poop also smells horrid. Okay, the gentleman that lives downstairs has children. There was people that lived there before they had children. When it rains, the chicken poop runs over there. So realistically, chicken poop and kids shouldn't mix in a roundabout sense. So that's another thing
that would be it. That would be something to potentially address in a animal control law.
Yeah, no.
Or other, not just noise, of course, other factors. And once again, not equating all these things. We're not equating chickens and roosters, but we're going to have to look at that, get public input, make decisions on what things should be allowed in the village at all, or in certain parts of the village, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So we're
And
gonna try,
I
I believe we're gonna try.
Yeah,
Well,
no.
as you stated, it impacts the quality of life.
Oh, yeah.
You know, and I get it that things are rough and like, you know, I have my garden and what have you. But, and I know that people are trying to do things, you know, to be more healthy and so on and so forth. Do you have to have roosters to have chickens lay eggs?
Just one.
No, do not.
Just
Okay,
Just
thank
have
you.
at
eggs.
some point.
They just crow.
Yeah, they just-
You see, I'm a city boy. I've been here for a long time, but I still consider myself a city boy. I grew up in a place where I thought roosters only woke you up in the morning. I mean, I watched cartoons, and that's what they did. Sun came up, cock-a-doodle-doo, and just to let you know, they don't sound like that either. They sound like a small child being, yeah.
On the seat in the airplane behind you.
Yeah, and when that happens at different intervals of the day, once you hear it, you can't unhear it.
Yeah.
You know? But I get it. There's people around here that's been brought up on farms. They raised on farms. I don't hear the cows moo. I don't hear the chickens cadoodle, or whatever. I don't hear the roosters. You know, you got all this stuff, right? But I grew up in a city. I don't hear sirens. I don't hear gunshots. I don't hear subway trains running. I get it. I get it. You get used to these sounds. But there's people here that complain about sirens when our kids reach some pinnacle in their sporting life. And you know,
But it's just like, but it's even like,
but it's not all the time.
yeah.
Trains have to warn that they're coming, or else people get splattered all over the tracks.
But
You know?
like even on Facebook, they had commented, and I'm gonna shut up here in a minute, but anyway, they had commented about using the white noise thing. We've done that. We've had the TV on. You can still, and Charles can even vouch for that. You can still hear the rooster over the television set. So.
I try sleeping with the news on, but then I wake up in Beirut. You know?
So we need to,
We're not even in Beirut right now.
so we need to move along the anecdotes, even though I did want to say that Charles did raise and eat pigeons in New York City, because that's.
That's right.
And that was Tyson. That's my Tyson.
Okay.
I suggest you get a hold of the rooster and we just hook it up.
You see, I have 9 cats. I have 9 cats, and nobody ever complained about my cat. They don't go outside. But there are strays, and I'm starting to root for these strays to get lucky.
Does that mean,
Roosters.
does that mean you get a rooster?
You know?
Do we have anybody else in the public?
Chicken fingers.
Are you sure it's a rooster crowed and not a certain person playing a guitar and singing?
That's not. It could be.
No, I only see him on.
They could sound similar. All right.
All right, I'll let you guys finish your meeting, I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Next time, do this at the beginning of the meeting, so you don't
I
have.
tried to get you out of here early.
No, it's okay. I only gotta be up with the ass crickets.
I know, that's why.
Check back with us, don't let us just, let us
Okay,
slip through.
so,
I mean, don't be
Yeah,
terrible pain,
Is
but
it next week that you guys?
2 weeks, 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Okay, so I
Unless
just
it's a
have to figure
holiday.
out what my schedule is.
Check back.
Charles, just let me know when the
I'll
next
keep you
one is.
posted.
Okay, all right, honey, thank you. You guys have a wonderful evening.
You too.
Thank you.
All right, where we go?
Did we want to, we're not gonna do the rest of the public right now?
Oh, what if they got anything?
Anybody else in the public?
Uh,
Are we gonna do that now?
I got one thing.
Yeah, you
Let's
might
do that
wanna
now.
yeah.
Now that the county owns 81 North Avenue,
Well, land.
the IDA, Land Bank, whatever,
Is that closed? Do they own that now?
I think so.
they need to have somebody come and take care of that in the wintertime.
Yeah.
We had somebody come in the diner yesterday complaining about, they almost fell on the ice in front of it, thinking it was part of the diner's property.
Oh, yeah, I'll let the land bank know.
So they did nothing in any of the snow it's closed on it, snow or ice.
Okay.
And the county guys are right out back,
Yeah, but it's not the county, it's the land bank.
but they need to have somebody come and take care of that stuff.
I'll let Brittany know. Kevin, did you have something?
I was just gonna say, I have a fairly complete and fairly recent noise law from the town of Windsor, I think, that I've been meaning to get the right person. And I'll drop it off at the Rusty's in the next 2 or 3 days.
Perfect.
I'll choke the rooster first, though.
Perfect. you're too famous for this one.
There goes the Peter vote.
And Terry, you've been very clever not to be chiming in all these.
Actually,
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, good.
it's on the slide,
Oh, okay.
and I love that slide. I've gone down and worked with many kids going up and then down that slide. My years as PT in the district, so it's a wonderful slide, so I hope it can stay.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Want to vote to take the paint off this?
Yeah, clean it up. Hang on.
Glad they didn't let that slide.
Maybe there's some
It's a
plastic
wonderful
rails or
slide.
something that can actually snap over the sides, maybe, something like that. Just cover the-
Yeah, can we paint it with like rubber or something?
So,
That's true.
10-second anecdote. As you're going on 238 or 232 or whatever it is, over to Watkins Glen up through Cayuta and Odessa, and the school in Odessa has a slide going down the hill. I don't know how many people know that.
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge long slide. It's right on the hillside, so you can't fall off and hurt yourself. And it's been there forever, and it is the most beautiful thing. Done with the anecdote. Back
I
to
saw one
Back to the-
somewhere else too.
the meeting. Sorry.
I forget where, but like a ski place.
Anyway.
You go right over that slide tomorrow morning.
I'm gonna go down. Where are we, Mike?
Okay, so what we have left is discuss money loan for hazard mitigation projects.
Okay, I can do that.
Okay.
All right, so we got contacted by this company who has sent us a couple emails now, or like we've talked a little bit with some, so they have this information so we would like it if maybe the mayor or Rod would take a look at the emails and see about if he would be willing to they'd be willing to have a meeting to discuss it. And what it is, so earlier today, we had the bans for bonding for money for the DRI projects. So what this is it's a way that they would do it for a way lower percentage rate. And then they also have this way that they take our planning money and then roll it over into the actual grant. I don't know much about it, but it's a lower percentage rate than what we're paying for with the DRI grants.
It sounds like, so typically we use municipal solutions like for all our super and stuff like that.
Is that the same company that the email came from?
No, I think that group is some financing entity that's like new in this space. Apparently, if this is the one I'm thinking of, like this is a loan financing that has never been done before, but FEMA or whoever it is interested in trying to allow it, and it's not clear if it's
How much
allowed
money are you
or not.
talking, how much money are you talking about?
So this would be for the hazard mitigation projects. So
How much is it?
it'd be huge money if we got something like, so we're getting all these assessments or like we're working on getting assessments, so we'll know the possibilities of what we can do.
Let me try
If
to
we
help.
ever got the big ones.
So Julie went over a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
There's $240,000 in grants that we could get. This financing would allow us to access and work towards getting those grants and then rolling it over into financing the grants themselves. Is that right?
I guess so, but I was thinking it was for the big ones. For like if we.
What are the big ones?
Oh, well, so with the BRIC DTA, we're getting assistance to get evaluations to if we can do these projects.
Right.
So if we could do the projects in the future, this would be lining us up to have the funding to be able to do them so that we don't have to.
So my point, because Rod's question was how much money. So it sounds like what Laura's saying
Millions and millions.
well, at least what
What
Julie's
is
got
the-
lined up
what's
is
the
the
limit?
$240,000. There's the 90,000 and the
Well,
150.
none of that's really reimbursement. Like we get into trouble when it's a reimbursement thing. If it's just no match, they give us the money, it's not really a big deal.
So I guess I'm not clear from Julie's email exactly which particular program this was pointed at.
So it has to deal with any of the hazard mitigation relating ones. So we got we got the one to help with raising Kim Treehan's house and the 2 generators. So this would apply towards that. That, you know, we'd be able to, like, if we were paying for a generator and then getting reimbursed for it, this would cover that portion for us. So it'd be that for anything dealing with hazard mitigation related things. And so if we got the energy assessment for the 90 Temple, and then we were doing the project where we are doing the work, and if we had to do that as a reimbursement style, then we would have this money at a lower interest rate. And so it would just be having the conversation to learn more, to see if it would get us out of the, you know, if it could save us money in the future, we would just have it more set up, at least be educated about it.
Okay. Yeah, no, we'll check into it.
We'll look into it.
Okay.
Then the other thing is discussion on unified solar.
Yeah, so for that, what we'd like,
Can I jump in and try to give my 2 cents on it?
yeah,
So the unified solar permit is something that's been put out by NYSERDA years ago. It's been adopted by lots of communities. This is actually something that I think the code enforcement officer could just choose to do administratively without board action, because what forms the code office uses for building projects is up to the code office. The normal building permit doesn't call and have places in it for the information that's really necessary for a solar project. And so the unified solar permit kind of fills the gaps in for that information in a more streamlined form for that specific purpose. For the purposes of the grant applications and the other things, CEC, CSC, word salad, it's probably helpful to have a board resolution saying we authorize or we direct the code office to use the unified or uniform solar permit, so that there's nice clear, hey, look, we are using it. But that's kind of it in a nutshell. It just streamlines it, meant to make it easy. It's not a big deal from code enforcement's perspective. It's just a form for them to use.
so for our purposes, for the money grants further down the line, this is like one of those steps that we need to cross off for major points.
We have 5 points according to Julie. That's just some of that buffer. It's a very easy thing to do because the code office can just do it. But again, having a board action saying we authorize or we approve use of this solar permit would be, that's all you need, and then done. And then anytime somebody comes in and says, I want to put solar on my house, Mick and Terry say, great, here's the form. Here's the form, done, give it to them.
So what they wanted us to do, the state guide says you adopt it, the board action is to adopt it either as a local law, an ordinance, or a resolution. And so what I'd like to do, it's just a standard language. What I'd like to do is have us see it maybe at this next meeting and either, or hold the public hearing on adopting it if we're doing as a local law, or
Just do it by resolution.
just by, all right, so let's do it by resolution, and we could set it up to have it at our very next board meeting, which is like March 5th.
So someone will produce that and we'll see that before then.
Yeah.
That's how we like to do business. Thank you.
All right, so March 5th, we'll put this up for a resolution.
It's actually
Just
March 4th.
March 4th? Okay, March 4th. Awesome. I can remember that.
Whoever's gonna get that to us,
There's no holidays.
get it to us.
That's nice.
Don't get it to us one day before, you know the deal. You just like you want the stuff, I want to see the stuff. Whoever's doing it.
Easy enough resolution.
Yeah, I mean, it should be sent out like a Thursday or Friday before the meeting, so we can.
Okay,
That's
that's easy enough.
okay. Great.
Let's see, we do need, I think, another executive session, right? Attorney-client session.
Yeah, just there was a bunch of emails going around from a variety of people, not board members necessarily.
Not necessarily.
And I think a conversation needs to happen about what the village is doing with some projects.
We can do that at the end, but we need a motion to have that attorney-client session.
Move after client section.
Second.
Yes.
Rusty, Laura,
Yes.
Dave, yes, Fran,
Yes.
Charles,
Yes.
and yes. And we'll do that at the end. Trustee report. Since we started.
Mine.
For yours?
She goes last.
Fran, what do you got?
Okay, well, like we've been talking about, I've been involved with this, hazard mitigation. So, yeah, I have no report for the cemetery committee. I went to a Kiwanis, meeting today. There's they're calling it the Action Club. They're, organizing, for, young adults, mainly is what their focus is, that are disabled and they want to set up projects and, they're thinking about having volunteers, maybe help with, different projects that are going on and so on. And, so, they're just getting organized now and, it's a great thing.
Nice. Anything else? Charles?
I have no real report other than I spoke with Jim. We are once again revisiting the idea of having a mural painted on either the building or the doors of the fire station and various other places around town, hopefully. I spoke to Rebecca and Stephen. Those are the artists who are willing to take on this feat. The question was, how was it going to be paid for? I believe we came up with a great idea. And I am looking into the particulars. I spoke to Jim to make sure that the fire department is, what type of ideas they would like to see visualized. Make sure they're all on board with it. We won't have to spend any of the village money. There's no ARPA money. There's no other money that's gonna take away from sidewalks being fixed or stripes on parking spaces. So that has been taken care of. We're still figuring out the particulars, but they're gonna come up with the money to do this. I think it's a good thing. So
Rebecca and Stephen.
Rebecca and Stephen. So I'll keep everybody posted, but that's another check off of our honeydew list there. I called and told them about that. So something's gonna be done. It's gonna happen. And it's gonna be good for our village. See some artwork out. We might not have an art park, but we're gonna have art.
Anything else?
That's it. That's all I got.
Dave?
I was looking through the list here as far as our task list, things that need to be done.
Honeydew list?
Yeah, the honeydew list. And one of them on here that I kind of brought up was the porta potties. It broke some of the smaller things, which I'm going to be checking up on this week. I just wanted to make sure there were only 3 parks. Draper, Bowland, and Mayor. There's that Mayor in Bowland. Or is it your house?
That's my house.
No, it's across from the Elks Club.
Right.
Butterball.
Across the street from the
It's
Elks
a
Club.
Mayor's Park.
Oh, okay.
And then Draper's the other end.
So that-
And we have Livingston Park down by the creek.
Right.
Livingston, yeah, there's the one up in Halsted. What's that one called?
Yeah.
It's called the one up in
Halsted Park?
Halsted.
One of them also, yeah.
Woolland Park is the one on Prospect Street.
Livingston.
That's the ball field, yeah.
Okay. So, and
Mayor's Park is also known as Owego Park. And that's the little space next to the barley corn and the
Okay.
Riverwalk.
Okay.
Yes. About 4
And then there's one up at Halsted too.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, there is one up there, yeah.
Draper Park is the one next to the Port Street
Yeah,
Bridge.
that's it. So we're talking 5 porta potties then. Anybody think of any others?
The
The courthouse and the
It would be good
cemetery
to
park.
have one up in the cemetery. I mean, we have our employees
Courthouse
up
and the
there working,
cemetery park.
and, people go up there. That'd be another one to put on the list.
Okay.
What's that from, for Dave? That's,
It's
it's part of the,
half acre.
Seasonal.
Flip it over.
Okay.
About 8 down. Porta potties.
I can't, why we're thinking about putting one in those places. We're thinking about putting one at each of those places.
Yeah. Okay. I'll get some pricing on it.
Okay.
We can get more, we can get a discount with more of them.
Yeah, right. More great.
Right. That's the name of it.
And
what else, Dave? What else you got?
And I just wanted to point out the fire station, the new building that's gonna house our pride and joy of the country, the steamer. Looks amazing.
It does.
Looks great. So Windors is doing a great job on that. And that's about it.
Rusty?
And of course, when we finally realize that it's foolish and we can't afford the things in Marvin Park, and we get the state to let us use that money someplace else, and we don't build a $1 million skate park, and we don't build a $600,000 bathroom, which she's gonna talk about probably, that's a nightmare. Some others have recommended, maybe we put a number of porta potties in Marvin Park that don't have to have any of that stuff, that we can spend 10 grand a year on. We can have them for 20 years for 200 grand instead of a bathroom that's gonna be crap in 10 years and be broken into, and maybe we're gonna put porta potties in the thing. Who knows? I'm just saying. Okay. That being said, I'm going to make a motion here in a moment that we cancel the public hearing for next week, next meeting, for the Woodlawn Avenue situation with the road. Having spoken to the two property owners numerous times in the last 2 weeks, asking them what they want, how things are working out, they do not want us to do that. They do not want us to have the public hearing. They do not want us to, at this time, do anything with that potential roadway or abandonment or anything of the sort. They're going to continue to do some research on what some of the potential options might be about who might own it, what they might be able to do, et cetera, et cetera. That being said, I move that we cancel the public hearing on, whatever we call that, the potential abandonment of Woodlawn Avenue Street.
I'll second it.
Yeah, I'll second that.
As long as the property owners are on board with that.
Yep.
Rusty?
Yes.
Laura?
Yes.
Dave? Yes. Fran?
Yes.
Jar?
Yes.
And I believe that I haven't been able to speak to Ed in a couple of days, but we talked about it, and his whole intention was that these property owners get some taken care of, so if they don't want it, he's fine with that. I believe.
Okay.
I don't have that definitive. Okay. Anything else I want to talk about just real quick? No.
Did you talk to Joe at all?
Oh, yes, police and fire, et cetera, et cetera. Yes, I have talked to Joe, and I've talked to Rudy, and I don't know how much, I mean, it's not like it's hidden or anything. I just don't want to jinx it. I don't want it to go through. Assuming that the gentleman follows through, we have sold one of the Tahoes on auction, but it's not done yet, so we're gonna wait and see for, once again, I think that this is what it is for 14.5. And that's just exactly what we were attempting to do. So we're gonna, but I hate to say it and jinx it so the guy backs out, but hopefully that's gonna be the case.
Okay, cool.
Other than that, Joe has some prospects for police, and we will probably somewhat soon be having an interview and see if we can for these gentlemen.
Okay.
All right, that's it.
Laura?
Right, so the hazard mitigation plan is up for public comment. And so it's got up on February 2nd, and so it's 30 days. And so I think we probably have until March 2nd to be sending in, looking it over and sending in any of your comments, and they can get into the plan and onto it. So if there's something that you think of that you think we've missed and that we need to address, send that in. So you would send that into your comment into like Elaine Jardine, Wendy Walsh, and Jamie Burchard, but that'll be, so where you can find it is you go to the county website and they have an announcement that says, a quick announcement that says like the update plan is here for a quick link. But if you wanted to find it any other time of the year, you would go to the Office of Emergency Services Department, and then they've got them all. So our annex is listed in jurisdictional annexes A, and our section begins on page 330. So you gotta scroll, like, so it's all so the county has a major plan, and then the annexes are all the jurisdictions. So there's 15 of them, and ours is the V's at the end, right? Page 330. Now I have read them all for the county that, or all 15 that have been submitted, so that I know what's going on proposed, and everything, and how we compare. And I'm adding in more stuff too. So it'd be great to, yeah, if you knew what was in it, like to make sure you've seen it so that you're aware of like what's going on. And then we'll be voting on it when it comes back around, probably August. So yeah, so it's a big, cool thing, huge thing. In last week or last month's, in my trustee report, I put in a quick link, so you don't have to go searching. For the CEC, the Climate Energy Communities grant money, what we're trying to get the quick money. Kevin and I are going to be trying to do the fleet inventory. So we're going to be coming around to the offices and trying to get information on anything that has 4 wheels and a motor. So we do have to capture information off lawnmowers also and tractors. So because they've got a motor and an engine, a motor and 4 wheels. So we'll try to get this as easy as possible, and then, and get this in. It's due by April.
Okay.
So we're gonna try to do it sooner than later so that we get it done. So it's like all the departments, everything that we have in our whole fleet.
It'd be fire department and EMS.
Yeah, wastewater.
We have a list,
Everything the village
we have a
owns.
list from the insurance company.
Yeah, that's a good
That's
start.
what I remember, is that you put that list together. So if I can have
Yeah.
that,
You can have that list.
okay, and then,
Then you just have to check with them and see if they've added or deleted anything since.
okay,
So we don't have
Huh?
mowers and stuff like
Yeah, we don't have mowers, but we have all the vehicles.
okay. Well, after this, we'll have a more complete inventory, and you'll, be able to, keep it up, I guess. So there's one other thing that I'm researching, if we can get points, if I can personally get us points for, and that's checking to see if in our offices, if we have if we can get the a recycling bin next to each garbage can, And like, I think we just take a picture showing that we have them, and then we get credit for showing that we, separate our garbage from our recycling. And so we could maybe get a few more quick points for me doing that.
We recycle.
So
Big bin.
yeah, so I know that we pay for garbage and recycling at all the buildings. And so if we just,
Yeah, we pay for that.
yeah, so if we just show that we do that, then we can get these points and then it gets us more money.
Apparently pictures to show these things are important.
Yeah,
Did
so
you
it
Did
was.
you notice that the sign fell down outside and
I
broke?
mean, the blue,
Yeah.
Put it
I
back
noticed
up.
it was gone when the next person was here.
It's back up.
no, not the big, huge.
Yeah.
They have that as crown, bro.
Yeah.
That's all the officers.
We decided that had to be there, one screw. That's why it fell down.
That's why it's over there with two screws.
Now it's.
Okay, so our ad hoc committee, the CEC Planning Committee, that we met on February 12th. That was myself, Fran, Kevin Millar, Jerry Wiley, and Mike Brown that day.
I did not make it.
Couldn't make it that day, last minute, but we had a really productive meeting. It was like 3 hours that you missed. And we've got good stuff to carry over and good action items already reported on. The Climate Smart Communities Task Force had our meeting February 14th on Valentine's Day. That was a productive meeting as well. And I guess that's it I can think of right now.
What?
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay.
We got an executive session to do, so what do you think?
Communications?
Mayor's report, yeah.
Communications, we got a letter from the New York State Parks, Recreation and Historic Preservation that they are auditing our CLG.
That they do that every 2 years.
Yeah, they haven't gotten ours.
Oh.
So we need to give this to OHPC to fill out these questions. They just want a bunch of stuff.
That's just annual, yearly report. Is it annual reporting or every 2 years they do that?
Letter says every 4 years they audit.
Right.
Oh,
It says the annual reports, we did not receive all annual reports during the audit period. Please
so.
complete the enclosed annual report
New York
for the
State
following years,
Historic
2023.
Shippo's doing this, right?
So we'll get this to OHPC so they can fill that in.
We'll audit OHPC.
And Rodney gave us, there's a notice of public hearing tomorrow, either 1 PM or 6 PM. Veolia would like to raise our bills again.
I couldn't hear, Mike, what's it again?
Veolia.
Oh, this is to raise our rates, but
Anyway, if anybody's interested, we got the info.
So I just looked that up. The rate changes are pretty big every year. And then it says there's a levelized rate increase. What's that? Like they went to court and then we have to know that they wanted to raise it this much and then the court said they can only raise it this much?
I mean, I haven't looked at any of that stuff before.
Okay. Either way, everybody's water rates are going up.
Yep.
Unless the PSC chooses to not give them the rate increase.
Okay.
So that's what the public hearing is tomorrow, either at 1 PM or 6.
So if people sort of show interest that they don't want it, they might keep.
And the public hearing is online.
Did you hear about some big thing to do about the meters, the NICEAG meters?
Yeah.
In the news?
Yeah, but there's gonna be a news story about it.
People.
There has been a local news story, I heard there might be a national news story.
that was a bad news story. That was very unclear and stuff. Whoever said that, the NICEAG representative said things like, oh, well, the summer it's less and in the winter it's more. That wasn't what the guy was complaining about. He was complaining about just the one guy. In December last year, my bill was this year in December, it's 3 times. It's not in the summer to now. It was a poor news story.
Do we want to have, I know we talked about this before, do we want to have these tobacco-free people come talk to us, I think they can, so we already determined that our parks are tobacco-free by state law.
Okay.
I think they give, and this was the Council of Governors, which Charles covered for me, but I think they give you free signs and stuff.
Yeah, they were mainly targeting teenagers.
You got the signs, right? A couple of years. Yeah.
Personally, I think they should be targeting teenagers and their parents.
If this is the same group, the town of Shenango recently had a smoke shop proposed, and people from possibly this group came and talked about having, asking the town there to just outlaw tobacco retail.
Yeah.
Which it looked briefly like the tobacco retail environment is discussed, and at least that town wasn't interested in attempting to interfere with the business. I mean, lots of places sell cigarettes.
Yeah, I've heard that.
So do you want, I'll leave it up to you guys if you want me to have them come present or not. Down there.
It wouldn't hurt, I don't think.
Aside from that, I'm anti-tobacco. I've got a tobacco store that has anti-tobacco things all through it and the windows and everything. That being said, I'm not particularly, we know what they think and want and feel. I mean, they can come and say it. That's what they want.
Other than that, mayor's report, got anything, I was in Georgia, it's a lot nicer down there this year.
So, yes.
70 and sunny.
Perfect.
Public comment.
Gave them
We'll do
that.
the executive session.
Move to executive session, so we can get out of here.
Yeah, get out of here, because we think it's gonna be 5 minutes, it might be 2 hours. You guys
That's
get
right.
out of here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This conference will now be recorded.
All right.
Move to adjourn.
11:08.
Gee.